Welcome to the Rugby Fan Forum here on Forever Sports. It is less than a week after the World Cup, so we're actually still celebrating. I was, in fact, at a trophy parade this morning. Half the country is still drunk. Damien Willems is still in his kit. The Boks have yet to drink any water. I think it's been absolute chaos, but very cool scenes. And I am joined by Mr. Dan Scholz and Wes. A bit of an international flavor. We've got Dan over in the UK, Wes over in Botswana. So technology doing the business here and getting us all online here. First of all, gentlemen, how are we? Have we sobered up? How are the hangovers this week?
I'm still sick. Monday, Tuesday work from home. But if I sound if I sound ill, it's because I'm ill. Okay. and I'll attribute at least 70% of that to the Boks.
Right, fair enough. And Wes, have we recovered from the weekend?
Yeah, it was a big one. Sunday was the longest day of my life. But then it's you walk around here and like people kind of know about the Rugby World Cup and there's more football crazy here. But you see someone in a Bok jersey or sort of catch their eye and you look and you nod and there's like this thumbs up and this like silent celebration. So that's been awesome just to like sort of catch that sort of silent comms with people.
Fair enough. Yeah, I know it was mental here. People have just been. I've heard people booking off work for them on Monday. I don't think Monday was particularly productive. Lots of people. I mean, that was the one thing about today. You're kind of watching these trophy parades. Even Tuesday, when you're watching them around at the airport, you're like, do you guys like not have jobs? Like, how are there thousands of people everywhere? Like, like are you taking off leave? Are you guys just? The one person apparently said they tried to interview him, and he said, "No, I can't be interviewed. I'm not supposed to be here."
Dentist appointment.
Yeah. So, but hey, that is what we do, Daniel. We go big.
100%.
Right. So, in terms of the show to come, we're going to be talking a little bit about the game last weekend. We'll talk a little bit about Wayne Barnes, who's hung up his whistle. We'll talk about the future of the Springboks and who's leaving, who's staying. Some of the players, for example, in terms of which players. Could be at the next World Cup, which players might not be at the World Cup. And then we'll end up looking at a little bit of URC action this weekend. We need to give the URC a bit more attention now that the World Cup is over, so we can actually start to really get back into our URC, which will be quite cool. And obviously, we've got our Boyle Sports segment as well. So a big shout out to Boyle Sports who do power the stream, which doubles as a podcast. So you can listen to this back on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, all your favorite audio streaming platforms. Get your comments into the chat, ask some questions, stuff like that. We've got a poll running at the moment, which says, should Rassie Erasmus coach the Springboks again moving forward? Before we talk a little bit about the future, let's talk a little bit about the past. Saturday, what a game. And we jumped into the post-match show and it was absolute chaos. Now that you've had a few days to settle in, Let's talk about that game. A defensive masterclass, really.
No, I mean, yeah, I think if you've had a chance to, and hopefully everyone has watched the review show, I was lost for words. I think we all were. Steve, I know you were sort of in the Watchalong as well. It was just what an awesome way. Like, I'm still struggling to sort of really encapsulate how it felt, but. No, I think absolutely right. I think defense, slotting our kicks and defense won us that game. And we were absolutely phenomenal on defense. I mean, we know we've all spoken about Pieter-Steph du Toit, with his 28 completed tackles, which is an absolute huge. And the thing is, they weren't just completed tackles. They were big tackles. They were crunching tackles. They were tackles at key moments as well. Dominant tackles and key moments on key players. Yeah, no, and
Jordy Barrett's still checking under his bed for him, just trying to work out where he is.
Absolutely, and I see the comments about Jordy missed that kick because of what PTSD. I get a mouthful there, but no, absolutely huge, and we've said it before, right? And everyone likes to say it. It's a line that people throw away: defense wins games, and defense wins World Cups. I think what we saw last week,
attack sells tickets, defense wins titles.
Yeah, there we go. And what we saw on Saturday was exactly that.
Dan, can Jacques Nielba call himself the best defense coach in the world?
I mean, in the calendar year 2023, absolutely.
2019, he's got two. He's organized defense to 2 World Cup wins.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I remember that actually I felt as a year in 2019, I felt a lot more secure in our defense. I just felt we weren't going anywhere backwards. Whereas actually in the years in between the World Cups, I felt like it kind of got led astray. Like I think we only conceded like 4 tries at the last World Cup and probably a similar amount in this one, which was insane at the World Cups. But in between, it seemed like we had lost something. But the resurgence of it, and it's almost like the game again back with the resurgence of Pieter-Steph, like he was kind of a little bit out of form and up and down, and people weren't too sure. And then it's just game time for the Boks. World Cup, we hear, and it's like everything has just been prep. And I know they speak about it saying, like, everyone just remembers World Cups. No one cares about like other games in between and stuff like that. And like it's never been more clear than in the way that we won both of these World Cups and the time spent in between them.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think I like the sort of ideas for the research for the defense. And I do think that it's interesting. I think we had 2 years, which obviously we had 1 year, which was purely just win the British Irish Lions series. And then after that, there does seem to be this willingness to lose games or to change for this World Cup. It was almost like we'd already forsaken the next 2 Rugby Championships. We sat there saying, we don't really care. We're just going to go and try to start building for this World Cup. And I think, we did see how the game plan evolved. It's very lazy analysis to go and sit there saying that we're playing exactly the same as we did in 2019 because it's completely different. Defensively, attacking wise, player personnel wise, it's a completely different team, despite there being the same sort of players and very similar coaches.
And we had to be, because a lot of people, a lot of teams became like 2019 Springboks. Like literally, England's game in the semi-final was the most 2019 Springboks that we've ever seen, more than we ever were.
Yeah, no, 100%. And we started seeing 6-2s, which were not a new concept when we deployed it, but wasn't the norm. And all of a sudden, for example, this World Cup, 6-2 splits were very common. The whole sort of forward orientated thing. I mean, Eddie Jones was in fact the one that actually teased the idea of a 7-1 split earlier this year. He joked about a 7-1 split, and then we said, "Oh no, he's never going to do it." And he didn't do it, but then the Boks did it. So it's interesting how things have changed, and at the same time, the more things change, the more things stay the same. And there was a certain amount of brutality to the Boks performance last week, despite it not necessarily being the biggest Bok team of all time. I mean, it's funny when you talk about the massive Bok forwards, and yet 2 of our top performers, in Dion Free and Kwagga Smith, aren't exactly, the 2 of your biggest sort of players. Wes, let's talk a little bit about that pack. Wouldn't say set piece wise we were phenomenal. The lineouts were an issue, especially when Bongi went off. And scrums, we didn't quite ever get the dominance that we had in previous weeks. Do you think you can attribute to that to the loss of Bongi? I think both in scrums and lineout playing quite a big role. Did New Zealand just do very well to neutralize that aspect? Why do you think that we didn't manage to maybe gain the ascendancy from a set piece perspective that we would have liked to have had and maybe had in previous games?
Yeah. I think everyone was looking forward to seeing that battle, and Bongi going off, that was massive, right? I think there were 2 players you didn't want to get injured. It was Bongi and it was Faf. And within the first couple of minutes, we saw Bongi go down, and it was like, oh goodness, here we go. And I think in terms of the scrums, I think the All Blacks just pitched up big time. I think they would have been pumped up. They would have been absolutely firing. We had some choice words for the All Black front row early on in the tournament. I think we were quite critical of them, and we kind of said, oh, it's not really a competitive or technique front row. And fair play to them, they made us eat our word, because then they really turned it on, and they were getting a lot of the Island scrum as well. Again, a scrum that had been doing very well in the tournament. So I think they just turned up to play and potentially even had a little bit of an edge on us, despite our scrum being what it is. Line-out time, they were all over us. And I was trying to keep calm, and I thought, okay, we were disrupting Ireland's line-out, and then they got it together, so we'll get it together. And just we never really seemed to quite get it quite there. And I do think that probably was Bongi. We were missing Bongi there to potentially find, but you still had the jumpers and the corners, and we just couldn't quite seem to get New Zealand. I mean, they knew where we would be vulnerable, with one of our key players off, and they absolutely went for us.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, New Zealand's lineup wasn't perfect, so it was interesting how neither side, it was actually, that for me was one of the most interesting aspects. Neither side had that go-to set piece where it was like, chips are down, we're under pressure, we're going to kick deep for them, force a lineup because we can go to a lineup and we can reestablish a platform. It wasn't the case of put a bit of pressure, force a knock on, take a scrum, and we can use that to establish some pressure. So it was interesting in that neither side really had that front foot ball to really be able to attack from. And New Zealand had a couple of very good lineouts, but I mean, we saw that like thumping hit from PSJF Toy on Geordie Barrett, where we had almost sort of pre-worked out that's going to be the move. And they just, neither side really managed to build up momentum at time. It was, it was always, it wasn't like these very long patches of play where a side was just all over each other and stuff. Forget it was a little bit stop-start at time. But Dan, I mean, it's a little about the defense. I want to look at some of the backline players and someone who stood up as we kind of waited for. But the likes of a JC Creel, for example, next to a PSDF the Toy, the way that we read that incredibly dangerous New Zealand backline, and how a player like Rieko Awani was very absent at times. And we're talking about a Will Jordan who was about to, set to score the try scoring, break the try scoring record. He's been scoring tries for fun. Probably one of Will Jordan's quietest games. In fact, he got subbed.
Yeah. No, I mean, you can't give them enough credit for the game management and defensive management. Like, obviously, you when you think defense, you think Pieter-Steph du Toit hitting, someone. But I mean, it was almost like I felt like Lukanya Ann was like the original like mastermind behind like making things go away before they happened, right? And I feel like that's what the Springbok defense is so good at doing. It's like knowing how to read the game, and our centre pairing of JC and Damien have been superb at that, in being able to nullify and read the game so well that the person, they either knew the person was going to get the ball, or they were putting themselves in a position to be able to stop it when they do. You really, again, you can't take your head off. And a lot of that is just a rugby player's willingness to work bloody hard for the tireless things that gives you zero glory. And think that's exactly what both of our centers do.
Yeah, 100%. I think the reading was. I mean, there was a. I watched the clip back, and there was a dummy run, and it was perfect dummy. It was just played right behind, and Jesse Creel just delayed by like a fraction of a second making that hit, so you could actually read that the pass was going behind, and he actually managed to adjust. And it's just those sort of small things where he decides the ball's going there, and he commits. There's the gap, Rieko Awani into the middle, and we've seen the story 1,000 times. The patience and the accuracy of the defense was second to none. Andre Pollard, ice in his veins, and Faf de Klerk, who couldn't afford to get a yellow, couldn't afford to get injured. The halfback pairing, it's our most experienced halfback pairing of all time. Do we start putting them in a conversation as the best halfback pairing of all time? They've started 2 World Cup finals. They've won 2 World Cup finals.
Well, yeah. If you want to look at, it's always how do you define best, right? And then I was watching the videos you've been putting out, Steve, which have been great, and talking about the Springbok side and looking at, is it the best Springbok side? And it's like, what are you defining as the best? Because if you want to define it by the greatest scrummages or the best defense or whatever the time period, it can change.
Drinkers, for example,
Exactly. Although I think these box, might be up there. I mean, I've seen those videos of Malcolm Marx, and Oak is a saint.
The two of them, like, have you seen that video with Damien Willems are having a time, and those two are obviously, quite a few beers, and they're busy like sobbing on each other's shoulders, and you just know the time of the night,
It's awesome. But no, going back to your question about the pairing, I mean, there's something to be said for that experience, and knowing that partnership is so vital, and knowing where that person's going to be, and you start just intuitively playing, right? Getting into that flow zone where you're actually not thinking, you're just doing, and the less thinking is better, because as soon as you think, you start to doubt, and if you doubt, then that's where mistake and error creeps in. And I think having that pairing between Faf and Pollard was key, was essential, and we'll never know. We'll never know what would have it looked like if Marnie had started or played. It would be very difficult to say who would have won or lost, because I think it would have been a very different game. But that was the call they made, and it turned out to be a correct call. I'm not going to say it's the right call, because that implies the other one is wrong. It was a correct call because we won the World Cup. But no, hats off to Polly for just slotting those kicks, standing up, doing his job. I mean, that's what you want out of any player. You just want them to get onto the field and do their job and do it bloody well.
Yeah, the most points in the Rugby World Cup final, Andre Pollard.
But also, like, we know the Springboks in Rugby World Cup finals, and it's what every team should take into a World Cup final. Is like, get points on the board. Like, even at the last World Cup, I think we scored our first try in the 60-something minute. It wasn't like we blew England out of the water with tries out of the gate. We were exchanging penalties, and when I think it was the second one where it was probably a 45-meter one, like back on the left from like the 10. I was like, geez, okay, if you're not going for corner here, like this is a tough kick, like there's no ways we're going for anything that's kickable is being kicked at, and then if we smell blood, maybe there's a yellow card or something like that. Although they probably kicked that when they did have a yellow card. If there was a real opportunity to kind of, go at the jugular, then I think they would have maybe gone for the corner, but the scoreboard pressure was enough. And, our first half performance was so dominant that we could have we thought we would just, continue going in that fashion, just like no hiccups, 3 points after 3 points.
Yeah, it's funny how that red card Sam Cane in many ways galvanized, in the All Blacks. Kind of sort of sat there saying, right, well, we're gonna have just 40 men. So
I knew there was going to be trouble, though. I knew there was going to be trouble. That All Blacks team, as soon as that happened and they went down to 14, I knew it was going to be harder for us.
Well, it's weird because that All Black side has actually had a bit of a habit of dying out in games and not having the best second half. And I think there was a stat or something that like the Springboks hadn't lost a second half points wise in like 2 or 3 years or something silly, So all the stats point sort of one way in many ways and stuff like that. But I think that's what makes a World Cup final is that you take the trends, you take the stats, and they go out the window. The only stat which I think held true was the fact that still the team that's in at halftime has gone on to win, but only by 1 point.
Yeah, I mean, the last point we kicked over, I think, was in the 33rd minute.
Yeah.
It's just nuts.
But let's have a word on the All Blacks. A side that wasn't tipped to go this far, Wes. Ian Foster last year, caused him to be sacked. He got a little bit more smug, I think is a good word, as the tournament went by, sitting there saying, well, you want to be sacked? Now I'm in a World Cup final. I got 180-minute performance away from me in a World Cup. I've put a lot of emphasis on their scrum, and I've said a lot. I think when Ethan Agu started playing in the scrum, started getting a lot better. Shannon Fazal and the pack improved. We started to see it evolve. But I think a word on the experience: Brodie Retallick, Sam Whitelock, your Bowden Barrett, Aaron Smith, for example. Key players, Sam Cane in the form that he showed during the World Cup. Yes, there are lots of exciting young players in that New Zealand side. They've got 2 breakthrough players of the year, Mark Talea, for example, who won it, Tabati Williams, a Will Jordan, who's still pretty young. But the experience stood up a lot during this tournament. And do you think that just sort of a bit of a constant reminder that don't write off the experience? Because when it comes to tournaments like this, you can have all the talent in the world, but without the right composure, without the right mentality, it can be squandered.
I mean, there's one team that comes to mind, when you're talking about this, and that's Australia. If we look at the difference there, Eddie Jones made those massive calls to leave 2 very experienced Oaks behind. And it's not just about experience. There was a clip that came out where Oz were playing someone, and I think they were down or behind, and it was Quaid in the middle, just talking to them, saying, "This is what they're doing. This is what we need to do. We're all in the clear." Like, yeah, everyone, just the small, calm, and you said, calm, cool, composure. We've been here before, boys. This is what we need to do. And it's someone to look to. And I think, I feel for his name's escaping me. Who was the young 10 they took? Not Gordon.
Gordon.
And Carter to have the pressure like that on his shoulders, and then when he had the performance he did, that big loss, to be able to have someone he can go to, and someone to say, it's okay, mate, it's one game, this, that, and I mean, you wonder, I hope he's going to be able to come back from that, because that's the kind of loss and the defeat and the experience that can potentially crush a player. Someone who's so promising and so good, and you kind of let them out too early. There's something to be said for blooding players. You get them experience, but it's almost like, if you want to think about it in terms of like a vaccine, you're exposing them in a safe way, in a sense. You expose them to danger, but there's always that protection of the older guys, the experience, so that when those older guys aren't there, they're like, hey, we've been through this before. I know what to do. Now there's that strength that they can find. So yeah, I mean, I think huge credit to the All Black old heads, who came in, and I think they were the ones probably who lifted the team, because as you're right, Steve. To be honest, I thought these All Blacks are nowhere, and especially when we completely dismantled them at Twickenham. I was concerned there. I remember after that game, I said, trust me, this team will if they've got the choice to lose that game in the way they did and win the World Cup, they'll take that deal every time. And they almost flipped and did it.
Yeah, I believe you said that, if they were to choose to lose 95-0 or something along those lines and win the World Cup. So, I think it's a good point. Dan, this All Blacks, we've said goodbye to Brodie Retallick, Sam Whitelock. You have to go back a long time before you start watching without those two in the centre of that New Zealand scrum. Aaron Smith, the best passer of a rugby ball of all time, in my opinion. I don't think there's anybody better.
Yeah,
the fingers. Just that it's the spiral and that bullet pass, and he was just an absolute pleasure to watch and stuff like that. Bowden Barrett moving away, Richie Mo'unga, I think Rico Ioane, Dane Coles, for example. Lots of big names moving on. Do they cope, or do you think we're going to see a bit of a hit from the All Blacks next year?
Yeah, it didn't, maybe other than Dane Coles, I think he feels like the only one who was maybe running out a little bit of steam. And it was a pity he didn't actually get his swan song. Like he didn't play in either the semi or the final. But it almost still feels like the performances that Retallick and Whitelock were putting in, like immense. Aaron Smith, one of the best Aaron Smiths we've ever seen at this World Cup. And it's like, it must be so hard for these people to know when that time is. And they have to have that belief that they made that right decision. Massive hole at scrum off. Like someone that's that dependable in such a crucial position.
Except
Cam Roigard.
The Cam Roigard era. I'm so in there.
He wasn't even starting.
That's why they lost the World Cup.
He wasn't even on the bench.
That and because D-Mac didn't play 10.
Correct. Those two in the team and they win. No, but you're right. It's not even just I think Roigard's phenomenal, but Aaron Smith has just been such a constant in that side.
I do think they're going to miss the Sam Whitelock a lot, though. Not just his jumping ability, but that calm head in the change room. There's something to be said about the most senior person that isn't your captain. He's not necessarily the person you turn to, but he's still amongst the players. But he's just, to be able to play the amount of caps he did, 150 caps, not just for Indian international team, the All Blacks. Like how disciplined and what a consummate professional you need to be. Just that tone that you set.
I don't think that's been matched for a long, long time.
No. We also saw Alan Wynne-Jones, but had he been New Zealander, he definitely wasn't playing that many. Not that he was, far off it, but it's just I think that's going to be a massive, just caps to fill, and they do have a lot of caps, and the likes of Rico Ioane and Jordie Barrett are barely 25 years old, and they've got 50 caps. So they're doing fine, and they're going to replace these people, but I think there's still there's going to be a big hole there.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a new gen. I think players like Ali Sevilla are going to become more important than ever. I feel Jordie Barrett now needs to stand up and take a bit of a leadership role, because you could have a lot of new players in and around him, with a Bowden moving on. Interesting to sort of see if this sort of opens the doors for your Anton Leonard-Browns to start coming back and getting a bit more involved, like they were. Damien McKenzie, for example, who's back playing in New Zealand, where he'll suddenly start getting time at 10. As the Crow tips, good old Chris, who's not joining us, says the All Black side coached by Ray is going to be fun. I'm very interested to see the approach he goes, where he's going to go, and maybe ways you can expand on this. As All Blacks now, you sit there going, right, reset. It is a reset. They've lost 5-6 players, lost a World Cup. There are players who haven't retired, but you look at Cody Taylor, for example, and you sit there going, right, he's 32 years old. I think he's playing some great rugby, but you're sitting there, right, he's 32 years old. Do we keep him? Do we need to start bringing in new blood? There are a lot of players that kind of sort of suddenly fall into that category. They might not be 30, 31 years old. And you're thinking, well, they could still be around the next World Cup cycle. And how do you do blood new players and start building new teams? You press reset and go sort of the Eddie Jones approach, probably not to that extreme. Yeah. But it's not only just a new player, it's a new era of coaching as well. He's going to have a different vision. His All Black vision might not have included players that Ian Foster had, for example. Sam Cane, is he going to be playing again? What do you think the approach might be, or what are the pros and cons from going, one versus the other?
Yeah, I think there've been coach changes before, obviously, right? And every time that the new coach will come in and bring a bit of himself, and that's what you want. Obviously, Razor's been chosen for a reason, right? He's had immense success in the past, and I think they're hoping that he emulates that with the All Black team now on the national level. But you have to. It's a delicate balance between coming in and doing things your way, but then also not rocking the boat too much. I feel like there's systems in place, or there's things that could be done, or there's players potentially, and there's structures that he might have to work around. Now, whether he does that, we'll have to see. But the Eddie Jones, as we said, has gone in completely thrown out all those systems and structures, and it's sort of hit the self-destruct button, and potentially that acts as a bit of a warning for other coaches. But no, it'll be fascinating to see what his plan is, and I think Dion Ferree, has given a lot of forwards in their 30s hope, their early 30s, because when we saw the 38-year-old take to the field, play, was it 78 minutes, however long it was, and win a World Cup final, which is an immense effort by him.
And end off as the captain on the field when we won.
Yeah. I mean, what a flipping story.
Which is mental, because Pollard was still on.
Yeah.
Like there were options that could have taken over the captaincy. I mean, that decision. I mean, nothing against him, but it's not like he's even captains the Storm and stuff like that. And they said, no, it's fine. Don't worry about Pollard there. Don't stress about JC Kriel and Damien Delende, who's been there for years. Don't stress about that 50 cap after clerk.
He also plays flank for the Hookers though, Stevie. So
true.
Double loophole there.
It's a whole different. It's a different personality. It's his alter ego.
Yeah. But particularly to wrap up that question, it's if you look at like England 2019, right? World Cup runner-ups, got to the final and then imploded, right? I mean, I don't think England rugby's been looking good. So I don't think the All Blacks will do that. I don't think they're definitely not the same side, and I think they'll be better. But the cautionary tale is that there's the potential for things to potentially go askew. And what does he do? Does he come in and say, right, we were doing things well, but we didn't win, so do we chuck everything out? Is it the baby going out with the bathwater? Or do you just pick and choose and you think this works and that works? And it all depends on the structure and what he wants to keep and what he wants to throw. So I know that's a real nothingy answer, but I'm excited to see what he can do.
Well, the interesting thing for next year is that pending on Michael Checker and whether he does renew or not, that's not been confirmed. We could see a rugby championship with 4 new coaches. Because it will be a new Australian coach, a new All Black coach. Even if Rusty takes over, it is technically still a change of regime because there is no Jacques, although he is the head coach. So it's going to be a very interesting rugby championship with all the teams, going through regime changes to a certain amount. So yeah, I'm very keen to see sort of what sort of changes that's going to happen. But let's talk about the box and what their now progression is. So if we look at sort of coaches, so we've got Felix Jones who leaves, Jacques Nyamba leaves. So immediately we're looking for a new defense coach, and probably looking for someone to work with the back line. And I think we're also looking for from a playing personnel point of view. Yeah, well, if we are going to get a head coach, and interesting to see if Rusty takes over or does he bring in a new head coach who's got one of those sort of aspects or specialities, for example. So Dan, I mean, what do you think the route would go? I mean, do you see us appointing a new head coach? Do you see us Rusty just bringing in 2 new assistants and taking over? Where are you at with that?
I'm gonna agree with Smith Shaw, and Rusty doesn't like the coach title, even though he calls the shots. I think he likes taking jabs at like the limelight and the classic the Twitter stuff and just being an outspoken person, but he now can do just that without facing questions at the press conference, and I genuinely think that's a big part of it. And I think he's going to look for someone else that he feels can do a similar role to him and Jacques, like just a dynamic duo, kind of flat hierarchy where it's, I think, not a lot of ego involved, because I think like as much as he takes up, I think, a lot of space in the room, I do believe that he gives a lot of the people around him equal opportunity to challenge him and say, this is what I think we should do. So, you're never going to bring in someone as big as like a Eddie Jones, who obviously that dynamic's not going to work. So you'll be surprised to see like a big name in rugby, at least from an international perspective, brought into it. But I think potentially someone rewarded, from a, who's done well in domestic competitions and at club level.
I think on that point, Steve, I can jump in quickly, Dan. I think the ego thing is really important because that was one of the big changes I think I noticed throughout the whole team this year, where ego was completely out of it. And it wasn't about, the individual player. And again, there's that quote from Dwayne where Victor called him, when he wasn't selected to play at all in the Ireland game. And Victor said, "Are you okay?" And Dwayne just said, "Look, one team, one vision." And so that for me was huge, where the ego was out of the room in every single role. There were still fiercely competitive athletes, right? Every single one of those 33 Oaks wanted desperately to be on the field and in that Springbok jersey. There's absolutely no doubt about it. But if you weren't selected, as the coaches say, I keep remembering from the press conference, they were gutted for a couple of hours and then they started studying who they were supposed to be that week. And it was just phenomenal. And, those Oaks deserve as much credit as the guys who went on the field and won, because they were the ones who facilitated. So yeah, I think if we can see this no ego Springbok team going forward, I think we've got many good years ahead of us.
Yeah, it's such a cool experience last year when they had. So last year they had a bit of a media launch for the Boks because we couldn't do it in 2021 because of sort of COVID and stuff again. And they basically sort of launched this brand new sort of season type thing. And I remember they'd announced a much wider squad, and Albert Lowe sat next to Deon Fourie, and they both called us at the same time. And it was this concept of Deon Fourie is 38 years old, brand new in the squad, and he's got as much say as a 19-year-old Kane Moody, and type like that. And there was the sort of sense of, yes, obviously there's a leadership group, which is very big, but I loved, and especially where Sia emphasized, he said, everyone's got roles. So he says if it comes down to a defensive point of view, he's going to shut up because he said he's not in charge of the defense, and Dwayne will then chat and will be pointing out, and there's certain people that have got different sort of departments, stuff like that. Something like a Marvin Ory, who I think played a little bit of an LTJQ's role in 2019, where he wasn't playing a lot, but always on the water, for example, somebody doing a lot of studying, a lot of analysis, and he was sort of that link between the coaches and players and relaying messages and saying, right, guys, this is what's happening. So once again, I'm sure, Chasing the Sun 2 it's been announced. So I'm sure we'll see a Dirt Trackers episode once again about the preparation, Marty Dibok running as with Chimawanga during the week and stuff. But I think that has been a big thing, especially in the coaching staff. How much was Wandile's stick question when he was first appointed? He's now won 2 World Cups. Deon Davids, when we had that when our forwards weren't dominating, our more had sort of gone backwards and everybody sat there going, is Deon Davids good enough? And now, he's the forward coach in charge of a 7-1 split, and so it's amazing how these coaches, and there does seem to be this inherent, everyone's got a place at the table type thing, and everyone can add suggestions. So I think that when Rassie Erasmus spoke about, the squad, he said we've got the right people here, not the right players, but he said the right people as well as the players in the squad. I think that's also extends to the coaches, extends to the entire player group. It's about having that right personality. And I think that there are players who, No,
I was going to say, do you think that's why Lekanya Arm was brought in? Because I never saw him getting onto the field, right? So he was brought in because he's a Chias Oak, and the Oaks love him in their jaw.
And also familiar with the environment. These guys did not, when did they ever go out and bring somebody cold who's not been part of the setup for like 2-3 years and suddenly go, right, here you go.
We didn't have another, we didn't drop a 13. We didn't drop anyone into the World Cup that was like almost there. It wasn't like Ivan Rus or something like that.
Yeah, nobody was parachuted in, for example. Nobody was making like their debut. I'm trying to think if we had any debuts this year apart from like a Jean Klein. And I don't think we did have any Springbok debuts this year, if memory serves me correctly.
No.
So and that I think sort of shows as well, whereas a couple of other teams might have had a debut here and there. It was a very strong group.
If Lukhanyo needs to play, 30 minutes, he'll take a cortisone injection, and he knows every single play out of the back of his hand. Like you can't chuck in someone cold under that type of pressure. Like especially when you have someone like Lukhanyo who has like a negative, beats per minute in like a World Cup final. Like just the cool, calm man.
Yeah, it would have been very interesting had there been injuries to Jesse Creel, whether they would have gone with Nakanya or whether they've gone and said, no, well, Kane Moody's fit, we cut it back. And that would have been a very interesting
Thank goodness we didn't need to go there.
Yeah, well, I think it's a lot of thank goodness we didn't need to go there. Faf getting injured, he was going to play scrum off for the 80 minutes.
Yeah.
A lot of different.
Currie was a thank goodness we didn't need to go there, but we went there.
we had to go there. Yeah, I know. Thankfully there's only one. We had to go there.
But we also had our star fly half gone for 60% of the World Cup.
Well, he didn't go to the World Cup. He currently can't play rugby. Elton Yankee. Yeah. He's still.
He's going to go back to Leicester and say I'm injured. Still in rehab.
Yeah. Oh no, dreadful. Yeah, no, but that's it. I mean, so it wasn't an easy road. It was definitely rocky. I mean, to go to the World Cup using Malcolm Marx, but it's funny how there were so many external factors, and yet we talk about it as if they weren't because of how well we coped. I mean, Bongi Manambi became. I don't think anybody can really get to Malcolm Marx level at the moment, but I'll tell you what, the last month of Bongi Manambi is the best of Bongi Manambi I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I think that's been the biggest thing about this coaching staff is being able to eke that every last bit out of each player. And how many players who people didn't back stood up? Your Jesse Creels. Franco Mossa, people are asking Franco Mossa, and people are saying, no, we should take John Klein ahead of Franco Mossa for the World Cup. And you're sitting there going, why would you drop somebody who's been part of you and look at the tournament he had? So, yeah, I think it's going to be very interesting to see how the team culture change. Well, not change, but, how it progresses in the coming years. Big question now, the captaincy. So Sia Khaleesi said that he's available for the box. Not sure if he let Racing know because the French clubs absolutely hate it when players are available for their countries. So, but he has said that at this stage he's not retired. If he's picked, he will play. Do we give him the captaincy again? I mean, this obviously wouldn't be taking the captaincy away from. But how much do you sit there going, right? So we've got one of our best captains ever. We know exactly how important he is. The likelihood, and maybe even more so because of this knee injury, is that he doesn't get to the next World Cup. I think he's sitting on, I think he's 32 years old, so he's 36 years old. So he could mathematically look at Dion Free, but there's a big question mark. Do you continue with him as captain, or do you start looking at who our next captain could be, for example, moving forward?
Yeah, I think as you said it, there is that leadership group. So it's a big group of guys, and I think the captaincy role potentially actually on the field and decision making is a lot less than what it used to be, right? That's what I see. There used to be one oak making all the calls. This is how it goes. But we've seen that responsibility diffuse actually throughout the Springbok team, and it's worked out well. But where Sia's unique, I mean, the mistake will be trying to have another Sia. Because you won't. So we need to get our heads around that at the moment, and we will have someone different, something different, and they will be better in some ways, they will be worse in some ways. But I think again, if this culture can continue, it will be a good thing. I do think you have to start looking though for your next captain. I think to not would be short-sighted or potentially all eggs in one basket. There is a new 4-year cycle. As you said, Sia's 32, so he's 36 with that knee, who knows? But I do think you start bleeding that new captain and start handing over more and more responsibility and have Sia mentor that. I mean, can you imagine Sia Khaleesi as your mentor? I mean, what better sort of company to be in,
Yeah, no, I think, as I said, to be able to sort of try to follow on for that will be massive, which I think is why it would be important for him to be in the team and to be able to sit in front and say, well, that's my captain, and I'm following him. Yeah. And imagine having that sort of backing. Chris is asking the right questions. Options.
I think...
Throw some at me, Dan.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I really like what you said, because I don't think you're not going to match Sia. I don't think there's anyone who can exude as much humility as a person as he does, which in turn brings such calmness to the Springs and takes so much pressure off. And that's the general egoless kind of Bok camp, ideology that they're going for. If you want to go, okay, who's definitely going to be starting at the next World Cup? Probably go Andre. He's the guy. He knows how to. He's making a lot of decisions on the field already. He has been a part of the setup since he's been 21 years old. He's got more than enough.
Except we never seem to go with, this current coach staff never seem to go backline play. I mean, even the kind of captain 1 or 2 SAA games, but they went to Bongi, for example, before they went to Andre.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who. The thing is that because we have such a exactly the young gun. Thing is that unfortunately and unfortunately, they're all part of very similar generations. So many of them are 31, 31 or 32, and that's always that next age gap. It's like, do they make it? Don't they? So with a lot of people in that gap, and then you have quite a jump. You have like a couple of people in there, like 28, like Achia Sneeman, but I don't think he's
Malcolm Marks is 29, for example. But again, I don't think Malcolm Marks is going to be a Springbok captain.
He doesn't like the limelight. And then you have kind of Jasper Wiese. Again, like these people, they don't strike you as typical captains, and they haven't been captains even at club level. So you can't now just expect them to fulfill that role. So I think because of that, at least for the next World Cup cycle, like the easy pick would be Andre. But to be honest, I still think they're going to stay with Sia.
Yeah, no, I think there's a good chance that they might. I think that's an interesting point. You talk about a leadership group, and you talk about the kind of Andre, Bongi, Sia, Dwayne. Even Peter Steph, for example, Eben. I suppose Eben could be an interesting candidate because he's just looking. I mean, from an age perspective, I think could be the same age, or if not a year younger than Sia. Yeah. I think they're the same age actually. I think they obviously played as under 19 together. It's going to be very interesting to see who the candidates are, because I do think that our entire leadership group does seem to be in the same sort of generation, as you say.
Eben was the captain before Sia. If you remember correctly, between Adrian Strauss and Sia captain, it was Eben. Eben was like the interim captain. He was I think it was Sia was made captain of the Stormers. Or Eben was made captain of the Stormers, and then Sia was then made after that. So, I mean, Eben can be, but he
was going to be this year, for example. He did captain us this year as well.
He did captain us side, yeah. No, and I think my point on Eben is for me, when he's not captain, he plays better rugby. And that's not to say he's not a leader.
There's a saying in football where they say, "Don't captain your weapon." There are certain players who thrive under the captaincy. I think Sia Khaleesi, the captaincy, brought the best out of him. I think Bongi Manambi, I think they gave him that extra responsibility, and he said, "Right, now I need to lift myself up." And I think there are some players who, can walk out there without the captaincy and say, "Right, I think PSF the Toys a player like that." I think there are certain players who could be captains and could be great captains, but not giving them the title, not giving them the extra responsibility means they can just focus on being, in Eben's case, the best lock in the world and one of the best locks of all time.
Yeah, exactly.
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth.
No, it's been terrible. So many of those sides out at the thing. But yeah, right. So we've got a lot to talk about. We've got plenty of time to talk about the box as well. So I'm going to move it to our betting segment before we're going to move to the URC. Somebody was asking where they stay in Cape Town. I have no idea. There will be a town hall tomorrow at 10:30. That's when the parade starts. So that's where you guys need to head out if you want to check it out tomorrow. Just to say, can you guys name a Springbok 15 line under 30 years old? I think we might need to do that on a upcoming show, maybe.
That'll be fun.
Where we can actually try and do a little bit of research, and I think we'll tell everybody to try and bring their own teams, and we can start seeing who everybody's got. Chris make a good point saying maybe Stephen Kitsov as captain. He's in the right sort of age gap. I think he's about 29, so he could potentially be an option. But let's move to our betting segment. And Chris is in the comments, but not here tonight, unfortunately. So we're going to move to. So you're going to have the BTEC Crow tips here and the Stevie P tips. Right. So the good news is last week we won. Chris is on a roll. As you can see, a 53% return on investment there. We are up 27.47 units. And last week we backed Argentina in the +7 with a single and won that, and a Stormers at -23.5 handicap, which also won. So 2 wins last week. So great stuff there from Chris. He has given us a bet this week, and this is all on BOYLESPORTS, by the way. We had a bunch of people last week who won free bets on their BOYLESPORTS account, and we are going to be giving away more free bets this weekend, as well as on our Super Brew. So if you guys are slacking, if you guys are late to the party, I'm going to put the link in right now. go and sign up for BOYLESPORTS. You get a sign-up bonus up to 1,000 Rand up in to that. And they're going to be giving us at the moment, there is a special running for the URC where if you sign up and you can win your share of 10,000 Rand with the bet URC. So go out and get that. All you got to do is take a 50 Rand bet on the URC between the 3rd and 26th of November, and you can win your share of 10,000 Rand in extra bets. Which, if you're intelligent, you basically watch the show, you find out what Chris is betting on, and you put those free bets on there, and you can win big. So lots of very cool things BOYLESPORTS doing. If you guys are new, haven't seen it, go and join our Super Brew. They're going to be giving us free bets every week for the top player of the week, random and stuff like that. So get yourself a BOYLESPORTS account. Let's start betting. Let's start making some money. It's Christmas time. I'm already seeing the decorations. The wallet is burning for the South Africans. We've got December coming up, so we've got to start getting ready for that, as well as January. So prevent your Januaries by getting in on BOYLESPORTS. So for this week, Chris has cooked up a little double. He's advising 2.5 units. I've actually gone and put that on before the show. He's gone with the money line sale to beat Gloucester, which is tomorrow. And then he's backing Lions on plus 11.5 versus Benetton on Sunday. That comes out at 1.85 currently on the markets over there at BOYLESPORTS. So that is the advice from the Crow Tips. Although if this does win, I'm 100% taking it as my tips, and if it loses, then we'll throw us back to Chris. Right, chaps. One more thing I would like to get stuck into here, and Wes, I want to find out how much of the URC you're planning on watching and what's going on here. But we've got URC action this weekend, and the nice thing is, not the nice thing, but because it is the World Cup is finished, it means we can sort of give the URC a little bit of the attention it maybe deserves and has been getting over the last few weeks and stuff like that. So these are some of the fixtures. Before we even talk about who we're backing and stuff like that, the URC is in London tomorrow night. Dan, you're going to watch?
No, where's it?
at the Stoop at Twickenham.
Ooh. Maybe.
Yeah, there you go. You're just throwing out some little Friday plans to Dan, yeah.
I'll check the calendar. Why not?
Yeah, so Ospreys versus the Sharks tomorrow. That is happening over at the Stoop. And tomorrow night also got Glasgow Warriors versus the Stormers. Dan, I believe you're a Stormers fan, if I'm not mistaken. And what are we thinking for the season? And the team has been announced. You've got Sasha Fayman Gomezulu still in that 12 jersey. Evan Lewis in number 7. That's something I wanted to talk a little bit about. Dan, how are you feeling about the Stormers this season?
I mean, they've started hot, and as hot as they have been over the last couple seasons. I was at that final when Munster beat us at the stadium, and it was a very, very somber evening after that. But they've embodied everything you kind of want out of a South African club. I think they are doing the most to kind of put people in a position to take the next step to the Springboks, and they've been really dominating, put people to the sword. And I mean, if there's, if a Springbok fan has faith in Rassie, I have just as much faith in Dobbo. I absolutely love him. And I don't think it'll be now, but I think one day he'll actually be in the Springbok setup.
No, I think you're pretty right there. Right, Wes, Evan Lewis at 7. Surprised? Excited? What's your thinking there?
Yeah, I mean, there was lots of hype and chat about Evan coming into the Springbok squad, and he just didn't quite find his groove. I think, it was a tight space to fit into for a very big man already. I think the squad was gelling well. And as we said, we spoke earlier about the right people and the right fit, and potentially with that combination of guys, that wasn't quite there. So why not? I think it's still, early days for him, and potentially try it out, see what works. And I mean, he's a very good 8. So if it doesn't work out at 7, there's the potential to go back to a position he's more comfortable at.
And do you think there's a certain amount of, positions or maybe even numbers in the back becoming arbitrary? The box is showing that to a certain degree, that, just because you are wear 8 in the back doesn't mean you are the traditional 8 man. So how much do you think this is also, first of all, it adds a bit of versatility, you can learn how life is on the side of the scrum, but do you think we're moving towards a time where numbers are maybe a little bit less, a little bit more arbitrary and less sort of constrictive with regards to what your role is.
Absolutely. I mean, I think if you look at Malcolm Marx, the hookers we've had, they're mobile. If you look at Dan Cole's, like absolutely
he revolutionized the hooker position.
100%. And even Kitsy likes to get his hands on the ball, and he's mobile-ish around the park. I
don't think we would have appreciated that ish part, eh?
Very mobile-ish around the park. No, I love you, kids. But no, so yeah, Steve, I'm with you there. I think we spoke about it. Everyone has their role, and just because you're in this number jersey, maybe your role is to do X, not Y, and the next hooker comes in is to do X and Y and Z. So I think that versatile player is huge. If we look at Kwagga Smith, right, the Swiss Army knife of rugby players, and what he can do, and I think that's what we want to try and focus on is everyone, people who can fit in everywhere. And the risk, though, is potentially overgeneralizing, and maybe going too broad and getting Oaks to do too much. But I don't think that's what we're doing. I think we're identifying where guys can contribute positively and encouraging those, 2 or 3 assets and values.
I would agree. I would disagree at scrum time, because I still think that there's maybe less so. I think lineouts, not too much. You can choose to be a part of the pods, lifting, stuff like that. I think that's a lot more learnable. But I think there are, as you mentioned, if you do become too generalist, there are, very good, responsibilities as a number 8 at a scrum and as a number 6 and a number 7 that are very intrinsic. I do think that even potentially to an extent, Van Roos could have gone to Dobbo and said, I need to, diversify myself. Like, he's seen what the Springboks value, and he didn't fit into one position and he didn't make the World Cup. Maybe if he was better if he was seen as good of a flank,
versatile,
as a flanky, maybe he was in the World Cup squad and a World Cup winner, So I think maybe it's on these players' minds, but so
basically what you're saying is that people are arriving at preseason now, and you've got your props are busy practicing their throwing, you've got wings who are busy practicing their jackling and scrum technique, and everyone's just trying to add different strings to the bow. They're like, well, this is the only way I'm going to be able to select. I need to be able to play outside centre, wing, as well as scrum off and hooker.
Yes, that's exactly what I mean.
Yeah, there we go. Okay. No, it's an interesting point. And again, so interesting to see how, because there's always been certain positions who have been able to sort of replicate. It's not, that whole sort of number 5 to number 7, playing at lock to flank, a very specific flank, because they've been able to do it. PSF the toy is a lock converted to flank. Frank Mossa did that very well, British and Irish Lions. Scott Barrister. There's a lot of people, Ty Byrne, who I think is probably the world leader in terms of being able to be as good at lock as he is on the flank. But it's interesting to see how people now sort of adding more to that, where they're not just, being able to go from very similar roles, but very different roles. I mean, for example, Kwagga Smith, who can play across the back 3, as well as on the wing and stuff like that. But he is a bit of a player in isolation. Other fixtures, we've got Zebre taking on the Bulls. Don't see that going particularly well for the Italians, who did push Ulster pretty far a couple of weeks ago, but this Bulls side is absolutely stacked, and that's before they get the likes of Kane and Moody, a Billy LaRue, and a Currie Orense back into the mix there. Leinster versus Edinburgh, I reckon that's probably your game of the weekend when it comes to the URCs. I think that's going to be a great watch. What makes it interesting, obviously, a lot of players are still slowly coming back from the World Cup. So, for example, for Glasgow Warriors tomorrow night, I think Sunio Topolotto is back, Matt Ferguson's playing, Richie Gray is playing, so a couple of players starting to get back. But, not all of these squads are sort of back to full strength. You've got the Scarlets taking on Cardiff tomorrow at 7 o'clock, same time as Munster versus Dragons. You're doing a Connacht versus Ulster in a Interpro over there in Ireland. And then the final game of the weekend, it is Benetton taking on the Lions. Lions searching for their first victory of the tournament, have come up within points, 2 games in a row, one against Stormers, one against Edinburgh last week. So really looking to try and find that first win there. So a pretty stacked weekend of URC rugby, and very cool to sort of be able to get back to that. And so chaps, just in closing, it's something that I wanted to talk about a little bit is just the possibility of a three-peat.
Here we go. Let's start. Let's go.
Just very, very quickly. What do you guys think? I mean, is it possible? First of all, no team's ever done it.
No, not on the run that we. If we have a similar run into the final that we did this year, there's no ways. The men will be far too old and frail. I think we need.
It's a big shout. Starts suggesting that even Netsbet's going to be frail.
Yeah, I mean frailer, if that's a word. But
mobile-ish.
I mean, they have said that
he said yes.
It's a lot closer to the actual World Cup starting than it did, like not 2 years before. And that's a genius move that I can't believe they didn't think about beforehand. But so there will be a more equal draw in that sense. So you should never see kind of what the Springboks kind of had to go through, or anyone on the
for me, it's what Scotland had to go through. When you think it was a golden generation of Scotland players that they could have very well got themselves to a semi-final, and they were robbed of the chance because they played against the number one side in the world and the eventual champions.
Yeah. But to answer your question, Steve, 100% yes. 3 peeps on. Like
3 peeps.
I can see it. Sia's going to be there, and I don't know who's going to be beside him. Most of the boys, I think. But
Kane Moody will still be 19.
Kane Moody, yeah.
Yeah, Cocker Smith always have a fixed his nose,
And where's
actually bad luck if he fixes his nose now?
No, he can't. He can't. It's
yeah. No, I mean, people always, what Mandela quote, it's always impossible until someone does it. So, someone will break that one day. Someone will get the 3-peat, and I really hope it's us. And again, if we continue the form and to build, and I've said the word a lot tonight, but the culture, and there was a lack of comment earlier on, and I actually missed it, but it was talking about the depth in the squad that we've built, and how that allowed us to do so successful. And the commenter, sorry I missed your comment, but it was just talking about how many players we had and how many substitutions we made and changes. And again, it was building that depth. There we go. Thank you very much, Steve. So the last 26 tests, we played 52 players, made 301 changes during that time, made an average of 7.5 changes to the starting 50. I mean, that's huge, and we spoke about it in the World Cup and the build-up. Is it too disruptive? Are guys not able to find their gel and this and that? And I think now is the time to do that. In the lead up, the 2-3 years before the World Cup, you make those changes. You try every combination. You see who works with whom. And then in that last year, year and a half leading up to the World Cup, you really start to finesse and cement things. And if we can do that, and we've got the gears and the spirits and that no ego, there's absolutely no reason I don't see us, absolutely lifting the cup down in Australia.
Right, sign it, seal it, ship it off to you. Ours, we're going to be there. We're going to watch them lift it, and the web. I don't think the Web Editors Trophy can do another trophy to it. The amount of brandy that poor trophy has had to hold for the last 4 years. I mean, it must be like melting away from the bottom down. I mean, it's just been. It must be looking forward to somebody else winning it just to have a bit of a break, because the abuse that poor trophy has had is unmatched.
What I will say is, imagine I think there will be major changes made to rugby if the Springboks win another World Cup, and if we win it in a similar pattern. I genuinely think that'll happen. People will literally start speaking of it like it's an unfair advantage, and that they shouldn't be allowed to just play the way they want to, because if you're a neutral fan, it's boring because it's boring to only see South Africa win, not boring to see the way.
I feel like we saw 20 years of New Zealand dominance. To be fair, not outside of World Cup years. So
I mean, we just no, but see, to be serious, obviously you never know who's going to be peaking at the right times at the World Cup and who's going to kind of be able to take that in. All you know is that in the furthest possible way to what the Proteas have is that we can remain so calm in that time that we don't.
Box are always in with a chance. I think that's the main thing. There's certain things New Zealand can never be written off. The Box are always in with a chance. Ireland can't get past quarterfinal, and So that's what we know. We do know so far when it comes to World Cups. We have to wait and see if that's going to be true. Come 4 years' time, we'll all be a little bit older.
And Michael Cheika will be there.
Yeah, yeah, there's just certain constants. And Eddie Jones. Eddie Jones will be in charge of a different team as well. He'll be like Chile or something like that. Right, people, thank you very much for joining us. To Dan and Wes, thank you very much for your time. Dan's going to go and shave because, as you can see, we are on the November train. So I'm going to put a link in. I'm going to put a message on the community. We are doing November as a Forever Sports group. We are busy putting pressure on the likes of Ariza to join us. And so Wes has done his shave. I've done my shave. Dan shaved an hour ago, so he's going to go reshave it again. So you can come join us. But if you guys would like to join the team, we are going to put a link up there so that we can get into the November spirit. And if you guys would like to donate as well towards a very worthy cause, then we'll have that link there as well. So let us know if you are going to join us on the November trend. We're going to basically be telling Wes exactly what we want to see from a stylistic point of view. And it should be quite a fun. And then I think, once Wes gets back to Joburg and even Dan, I think we might need to get Arceus Snyman and the Clippers out and start seeing if we can get a couple of Arceus Snyman haircuts there. But gentlemen, thank you very much.
I would have that haircut, brother.
No,
do it for the people. Do it for the
people. Tell you what, if we get to 100,000 subscribers in the next 6 months, I'll do it.
Okay.
Let's go, people. Start subscribing. If you haven't already.
You still go. Someone's buying bots. You're like, whoa.
We need a lot of World Rugby spice to happen.
Just need Rusty Russell to release another video.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, cool. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much to everybody watching. Thanks as always. Please make sure you do subscribe to the channel. Let's see if we can get Stephen Arceus name and haircut. I have to get into the gym to try and make it work. So I'm going to need a bit of time. But yeah, we'll see you guys all next week. Thank you very much, and we'll see you soon. Right, and we are live. Hello, and welcome to the Rugby Fan Forum here on Forever Sports. It is less than a week after the World Cup, so we're actually still celebrating. I was, in fact, at a trophy parade this morning. Half the country is still drunk. Damien Willems is still in his kit. The Boks have yet to drink any water. I think it's been absolute chaos, but very cool scenes. And I am joined by Mr. Dan Scholz and Wes. A bit of an international flavor. We've got Dan over in the UK, Wes over in Botswana. So technology doing the business here and getting us all online here. First of all, gentlemen, how are we? Have we sobered up? How are the hangovers this week?
I'm still sick. Monday, Tuesday, work from home. But if I sound, if I sound.
Forever Sports, round 3 of the URC 2023-2024 season. Here, streaming at the moment for the game again between the Ospreys and the Sharks. The Sharks looking for their first win of the campaign after 2 rather disappointing losses to both Munster and Leinster. But seemingly a slightly easier game coming through now against the Ospreys. But then again, as the Sharks like to do to me every single time, is disappoint me. So Ospreys have got a win already in a very tense affair between them and Zebra last weekend in a game where Zebra were doing really, really well and pushing them. But once again, for them, silly penalties and silly actions by their players lose them the game. You'd feel like the Sharks need a win because they are not doing too well without their box. So hopefully they will be able to put in a big shift today. The game will be starting fairly soon, in about, I think, 4 minutes. So I thought we'd quickly go through the lineups today, starting with the Ospreys. The front row of Phillips, Lewis and Buerta. Then you got the locks in Fender and Davies. And then the back row of Ratty, Morris, and Deeves. Now the back line. Now that's going to be a problem for me all day because it's number 9, Morgan Williams, number 10, Owen Williams, and number 12, Williams, with Owen Watkin, Morgan, Fricker, and Walsh in the back 3. So it's going to be a lot of Williams flying off the tongue today. And then for the Sharks, we've got Mchunu, Richardson, and Oosthuizen in the front row, with Raal and Van Heerden locking down. Then Venter, Noche, and Buthelezi in the back row. Cameron Wright retains his position at number 9, with Currie Bosch also, surprisingly, to be honest, keeping his number 10 jersey after I'd say not the greatest of rugby being played by him in recent times. 12 and 13 respectively. You have Janse van Rensburg and Venter retaining their spots. Actually, sorry about that, guys. Just a technical issue. Trying to find a stream that's working and my VPN. As I was saying, Janse van Rensburg, Sharks number 12, pretty much the only player in this Sharks team who's really actually made an impact on any of the games so far. He's paired up with Francois Venter in the centres. And I suppose the big talking point of this match is that Apiwe Dianti, who's been given another lifeline by the Sharks, he has returned, except he's starting this week. And that will be, I suppose, the big news of this team. He's partnered by Werner Koch, who's certainly, he was at 13, and then Fassi at 15. So decent teams for both sides. And I think they'll go, it'll be an interesting matchup. The Ospreys on the bench have Lloyd, Henry, and Warren in their front row replacements. Jones, Morse, Davies, Nagy, and Scully. That's one hell of an interesting backline replacement names. Then the Sharks have Van Vuren, Bleuler, and Jacobs, with Hiron Andrews, Crenier, Macabella, Chamberlain, and Costa on the bench. And so the Sharks, I suppose, looking to bring a little bit more of I'd say nimbleness off the bench in the later stages of the game, whereas certainly starting off with a bit of bulk. And there he is, Apiwe Dianti, very keen to get started. It looks like Sharks in their white kit, while the Ospreys are playing in their black. Referee Mike Adamson, and he's being supported by Mark Butcher and Dewey Phillips. And I've just seen we're almost on 66,700 subscribers. So let's certainly break through that 700 mark in this stream. And so Currie Bosch gets us underway. He kicks on. It's immediately lost backwards by the Ospreys, but they have maintained possession. They're on their own 10-meter line here, but no, referee's called a knock on. Not sure I agree with that. I wouldn't say that was a knock on, but the Sharks will have an attacking scrum off the kickoff, and certainly will take that. Yeah, that's not a knock on. It's come back out the hands of the Ospreys onto a Shark's head. But okay, I'll take it. Rubber the green immediately. Not going to complain. So the Sharks get, as I said, the very early put into the scrum. And certainly we'll want them to attack, or at least show something from this possession. Sharks get the scrum going. Cameron Wright feeds. It is at the back, so it's a complete first scrum, which is good. And Noche was controlling it well. Cameron Wright breaks the right. Feeds Werner Koch on the right. He's managed to slip his man. Slip 2 men. They're up to the 5-meter line. And it's a knock-on from the Sharks. You'd think they go back for the penalty because the referee did call advantage, but no. And the Ospreys have turned it over. They'll have a chance to clear their lines. Morgan Williams. Oh, and it's been lost forwards by the Ospreys now. But the initial knock-on comes from the Sharks. So now there'll be an Ospreys scrum feed just outside their own 5-meter line. So a bit of a poor handling start here from both sides. But Sharks showing good intent there to attack down that blind side. And Werner Koch doing some good, showing some good fight there to try and wriggle his way to the line. I'm just going to call this up on screen so that I can check you guys' comments. So, Ospreys ball to this scrum. Let's just get this so I can see. Go Sharks, please. Strong together behind USA boys. Yeah, I really want them to show something today because they've been so poor in the last 2 games. So the Ospreys complete their own scrum, and Morgan Williams will look to feed Williams, who he does, and he clears, although it's definitely not gone out. And Werner Koch takes it in, feeds it infields to Fassi. Fassi will take on the line, run straight into his own man, but not anywhere near a tackler, so play on. Right, feeds Bosch. Bosch whips it wide to no one. It hits the deck, but Richardson picks it up wide. Right. Right again, feeds Bosch. Bosch off to Mchunu. Mchunu out the back. And this is Janssen van Rensburg. He draws and passes to Fassi. Koch's got it. Koch releases Pepsi Buthelezi, and the Sharks are in early. And that is what we want to see from this team. Free-flowing rugby. And Pepsi Buthelezi is over in the first 3 minutes of the game. And already the Sharks showing more attack than they've shown in the last 3 weeks. I've always found, and actually a question for you guys from the chat, why do you think that a conversion has more time on the shot clock than a penalty? Let me know your thoughts, because I'm not myself. I'm not that sure. I'm not sure why there's a difference. But very, very good try there. And again, it's Janssen van Rensburg who draws the winger inside and creates that overlap. And Pepsi Buthelezi practically in untouched. So a very, very good start from the Sharks here. And hopefully they can keep this form going throughout the game. But to everyone here, all 24 of you at the moment, so not bad. Welcome to Forever Rugby and Forever Sports for the Sharks versus the Ospreys. Cohen Bosch with a very wide kick here. So let's see if at least he's got his kicking boots on today. And it's off the post. He just doesn't manage to keep it straight enough. Kenneth Allen, because the rules say so, that's why. You're not wrong. You're certainly not wrong in that regard. I just don't know why. I don't see the point. They should both be 60. In fact, I would say the penalty shot could be longer. Although then you think, it's still throwing down the game. So there are arguments for both. I understand. But anyway, the Ospreys will get us underway again through Williams. He kicks very deep with Dianti. Dianti feeds inside to the try scorer, Buthelezi, who crashes it up, setting the base for Cameron Wright. Either a box kick or he'll feed Cohen Bosch. It looks like they're planning a box kick. No, he doesn't. He decides to turn instead. Feeds Bosch. Bosch out the back. Sorry, it wasn't feeding Bosch. It was Janssen van Rensburg who fed Bosch out the back. Took the gap, but didn't quite get through. They're outside their 22 now, so the Sharks are looking to play this ball out, which is interesting, and it's working. Cunha stays in with a good carry, makes a couple of meters. Cameron Wright up off the back of the ruck. Now I think he'll look to box kick. And does, quite slow with that, but manages to get it above Ratty. Williams coming forwards, knocks it on. No, called backwards. And sorry, it's not Williams, it's Walsh. But Ospreys have got it. Cameron Wright with a good rat tackle, but Ospreys have got it back. And there's a knock on. Werner Cox picked it up. Oh, but there's a penalty. I'm not sure what for. I think it might be offside. So the ref is already having a chat with one of the players, I think back chatting, about a decision he's made or not made. I don't even know who he was talking to, if it's a Sharks player or an Ospreys player, because it cut away from him so quickly. But yeah, the Ospreys have got the penalty, and they will kick to the corner. 7 minutes in already, and what a frantic start to this game. Certainly an interesting start. So the Ospreys do set a decent line out. I just want to see what I still can't see what the penalty was for. Interesting. Sharks have 63% of the possession in this first half so far. They go to the front, and the Sharks almost spoil that ball. They've set the maul, though, the Ospreys, and it looks like it's set well. Sharks are allowed to come up now, and that's unhelpful. My stream has restarted. Give me 1 second. It's ideal timing as ever. Come on. The maul hasn't moved, but Morgan Williams gets it out the back. And then the Sharks fly up in defense and close the big forward down. They're going to try rumbling it here through Davies. Morgan Williams. Oh, it's a good shot tackle. Good shot tackle there from Noche, but they will come back for another penalty. But it's good to see Noche getting a start. I really, really rate Noche, and I don't think he's ever had enough time in number 8 for the Sharks. I don't think he's got enough game time to start with them. And you can kind of understand why, but it's good to see him starting. But very, very good maul defense there from the Sharks. And but the Ospreys will have a line out 5 meters from the Sharks line. And you imagine they'd look to set another maul here. And Mchumu put his hands up at the front of the lineup, and he's conceded a penalty for a slap down. That's interesting. I need to touch up on the rules of that. I don't see why that's a problem at a line out. But yes, he slapped it down, but it's a line out. But you can. Why is it a difference if you're in the air or not? But anyway, Sharks have conceded 3 penalties. And the Ospreys will get another line out, and you'd think, another maul line out. And they do. They set them all again. They really want to drive this over the line. The Sharks are going to need to defend this well, and they've been penalized a few times. And there's another penalty. Sharks could be going for either a warning or a yellow card here. It's too many penalties in the danger area. Williams feeds it out the back, and there's a knock on, so they will come back for the penalty. And it looks like it's just going to be a warning. Thank God. But the Sharks just giving away a lot of penalties at these lineouts. Yeah, so that's the kind of the warning there from the referee. Any more, and I think we'll see yellow cards. A lot of cynical stuff here in defense from the Sharks. So they certainly need to be careful. So Williams goes to the center. Williams goes to the line again, and they will set another maul. And if you're just joining us now, welcome. And the Ospreys go to the top. They do set the maul this time, and it is moving forwards this time. And there's another penalty. And the Ospreys drive over and score the try. And I think the Sharks are actually lucky they did. Because if they didn't, that would have been a yellow card. So I think the Sharks could potentially be lucky because of that. They are, the Sharks' maul defense is just woeful. I think that's four mauls and 4 penalties against it. Oh, the referee might still be giving a yellow. But so the Ospreys are over. So they do level the scoreboard here just after the 10th minute. And they will obviously have the kick to take the lead. And it's just not good from the Sharks. It's another penalty at the maul. Quite a nice kick from the Ospreys, actually. It's so plain, but really quite nice. So it'll be Williams, the number 10, to take the kick from the corner. Similar position on the other side of the field to Bowen Bosch. Where can you watch with Osa commentary? I'm not actually sure. And Williams will miss this kick as well, so we'll stay locked up at 5-all. And luckily, Sharks have not conceded a yellow card. So they'll at least be happy with that, but they've got to get that maul defense under control. And we actually saw this with the Sharks last year, and it was something they really, really struggled with until Etzebeth came back. And it's worrying that these issues are only ever solved by our Springboks, because considering the amount of bloody money that this Sharks, not team, but the new owner and everything is thrown at this team. You'd think that they'd have better depth than this, but yeah, I think we've got depth in the backs and the forwards, no. So the referees and the team of match officials are just sorting out the comms. Apparently, there's a lot of static coming through the old mic and the earpieces, so they're just getting that sorted. So we've got a little bit of a break in play here. So 12 minutes into the game, 5-all. Oh, TMO's intervened here, and he's saying there's been a loss of control by the try scorer, which was Lewis. Yes, and he has lost control of it. He has lost control, but I don't know if they'll turn it over to overturn it. Because there's no separation, I don't think they're going to overturn this. Oh, okay, so the TMO is overturning it. The TMO's overturned it, and even the commentators of the game were saying, that wasn't enough to overturn it, and I kind of agree with them. But try scratched off. We are back to 5-0. So now the issue is the Sharks are still under the pump, and they could be. If I was the Ospreys, I'd play for a yellow card here. I'd play for the penalty. So there is a free kick for the Ospreys. I imagine they'll take a tap and go. It's a free kick. They won't go to the touchline, I'd imagine, purely because it'll be Sharks' ball. So I think they'll they'll probably take a tap and go. Oh no, they called a scrum. That's also fair, I'd say. Looking to do the job with the big heavy forwards. I think this isn't the first scrum, and I don't think I saw the pack weights. And you'd think that the Ospreys will really have a go at Cohen Bosch's defensive channel here. They'll want to get a big man running onto him and just try essentially ride the tackle over the try line if they can. But this will be interesting. I'm interested to see how the Sharks defend this, because this is a perfect attacking platform for the Ospreys. But yes, you're right. Was it Avele Masuku? Pepsi Buthelezi has been very good so far. I think Noche has been good too, but Sharks on defense in terms of their maul defense has been shocking. So the big number 8 breaks off the back. That's Morris. And the Ospreys go very close through Cohen Bosch's channel. They feed to the big men. Good chop tackle by Noche. Morris drives again. They're not really making any ground here, but they're still only 2 meters out. So Fender with a carry. Number 6, Ratty picks up, helped by his hooker, Lewis. But they're just going sideways. It's looking dangerous, though. And then it's another carry from Morris. He gets over the first tackle, and they're now less than a meter short. Sharks will need to stay on side here. Juno trying to disrupt everything at that ruck by pushing a player into another. The Ospreys right under the poles here. Really good tackle there from Buthelezi. The ball's up off the ground, but the Ospreys do still retain it. And I believe that's Morris again, the big number 8, but he's not got there. They are determined to go with these forwards. And Ratty picks up off the back and drives and gets a second drive, but he hasn't reached just yet. They're going to go a little bit. No, they're going to feed their number 12, Williams, who doesn't reach. And this is really good goal line defense here from the Sharks. Sharks defending with all their worth. And and it's offside. The Sharks are giving away another penalty, and that might be enough to give them a card. And the Ospreys will go wide. And it's a try for the Ospreys. Dianti with a bad read of the game and just gets himself caught in no man's land. And I believe it's the fullback, Walsh, who kind of saunters over. But again, that might save the Sharks from getting the save the Sharks from getting a yellow card against them. Fucking just consistent. And it was actually Fassi who got caught in no man's land. And again, Fassi's defense is exactly why he hasn't played much for the Springboks. He's just not a good defender. He overreads that, does Fassi, and runs way too fast and can't change his direction in time. And Walsh just an easy change of direction and running. Disappointing there from the Sharks, but very good goal line defense while it was tight. The forwards were defending the goal line very well. But it is 5-5, and it will probably turn into 7-5. Owen Williams. Can he get this one? 30 seconds left on the shot clock. Oh, he can't. And he's missed it. A very easy kick that he's missed. It's not a good kick, and they should be ahead there. But the Sharks will, I suppose, breathe a sigh of relief. They're finally out of that area of the field, and they will look to stay away from there for a while so they don't concede a yellow card. Good hit there from Mchunu on the big man. Ospreys have possession in their own 22. It's carried up by Buerta, and then Morris carries it but doesn't get any ground. Fenter tries to get over the ball, doesn't quite steal it. So Morgan Morris controlling at the back of the ruck, and he will shape to box kick. Can kick it out on the full and kicks. And Cameron Wright takes it in well. Fassi playing at scrum half there for Cameron Wright being on the floor. Sorry, right out the back of the scrum, straight to Bosch. Bosch feeds Buthelezi in the back line. Dianti decides to stab it through, and it's a good kick just outside the Ospreys 22. Rugby boy, I want Ospreys to win. How are you? I'm not bad, mate. I'm not bad. It's certainly interesting to be back at commentating on club rugby, especially after the excitement and the hype of the World Cup, which was just such a great campaign for all of us. And looks like Owen Williams might have a slight niggle on his hamstring here, but he's carrying on. He's waving away the medic. And hey, we've hit 66,700 subscribers. So thank you guys. Thank you for helping us reach that milestone. And hopefully by the end of the weekend, we're at 67,000. So the Ospreys do throw in the lineup. It goes high. And they've played out Morris with a great line. Really good tackle there from Currie Station to bring the man down. He was through on a line break if he couldn't get him. Morgan Williams with a box kick for Morgan to chase. And he's knocked it on. So Fassie's now got it. And he will run it back, almost making a line break there between two forwards. And there's been the referee stopped it. Something's happened here. I think there might have been a shot on Dianti. Oof. Ooh. No, so it wasn't. It was Dianti was down after the attempted take in the air, the collision with Morgan. I'm sorry, Fricker, and the play just was getting too close to him on the counter attack. And Owen Williams is coming off a very early substitution for the fly half, and he will be replaced by Nagy or Nagy. The Englishman with a name like Nagy. Interesting. Don't even know. But the Sharks, I think the Sharks have possession. I think it's a scrum to the Sharks. Yeah, scrum to the Sharks. Who do I think will win? It depends. The Sharks' maul defense is very much worrying me, but their attack is looking decent. So it's a bit of a difficult one to call this. Noche tries to pick it up off the back of the scrum and knocks it on over his own lock's feet. So it'll now be a Ospreys scrum, and that's just a real let-off for the Ospreys there. The Sharks, that was a perfect attacking platform there. Really annoying. Really frustrating there from the Sharks. Definitely should have done better with that one. And just while we have this break, don't forget to check out our sponsors in BOYLESPORTS and BitDefender. BitDefender? I feel they're still sponsoring. Yes, they are. Haha, good. BitDefender. Do not forget to check them out. Leaders in cybertech security and BOYLESPORTS, your betting companions. Check them out. Just got a quick close-up of Morgan Morris there, who's having a good game so far. He's playing really well. So Ospreys put into this scrum, same place as the previous scrum. And Morgan Williams will... Nope, it's a free kick to the Sharks for an early shove. Sorry, to the Ospreys for a Sharks early shove. And you will think that the Ospreys will play territory here, considering that they had the Sharks under the cosh for quite a long period. No, I think they'll reset the scrum. And yes, the Ospreys will decide to take the scrum of their own. So welcome to everyone who's just joining us. 66,700. Welcome. Don't forget to like the channel, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and check out our sponsors. They really are the reason that we can bring all of this content to you. So Ospreys will feed the scrum through Morgan Williams. By the way, that's Morgan Williams as his last name. Oh, but the Sharks have managed to smother the scrum off at the back of the scrum really well. And the Sharks just don't manage to counter it. Really good effort. Lewis picks up and goes. Met by Buthelezi. And Morgan Morris will calm things down now. Get the ball to the back of the ruck and box kick. Does so for Fricker to chase. It's a good chase from Fricker. Dianti rises high and claims it really well. Under pressure. Ooh, the ball almost squirts out there. Right. feeds sorry, not Richardson. It was Fenter. Right again, feeds Bosch. Bosch decides to launch it high and long with Werner Koch to chase. Ospreys players trying to get in his way just so he can't have a straight run. It's a good tackle there from Janssen van Rensburg. Morgan Williams feeds the back line, and Walsh decides to get involved in the back line. Morgan Williams again controlling at the back of that ruck. This time will feed his big man Ratty. And Fenter really trying to get that ball out, but can't manage to strip it. And Ratty again will set the box kick for a Fricker to chase. And it's looking all too much like England right now. Gianti takes it in well. Fricker gets him down. Right off the back of the maul. Feeds, what's his name? Van Heerden. Or is it Rahl? I don't know which one's which, actually. Oh, the Ospreys flirting with that offside line, but not. Right, launches it high with the box kick. And Walsh comes forwards and knocks it on. So it will be an option. No. It'll be a scrum to the Sharks. About halfway. Yeah, just on halfway. Rugby Boy, I think with the way it's going, I think the Ospreys might take this one because of possession and stats. The Sharks just haven't had much ball since that first 5 minutes. But, I've been wrong about most things recently, although I did very well in the World Cup Fantasy League, so I'll take that. Not so much the score predictions. But anyway, I think it's going to be very close. I don't think this is going to be a runaway for either team. Hopefully the Sharks can get a win. But yes, they do love to disappoint me. Anyway, Sharks put into this scrum, and hopefully they'll be able to actually complete this scrum and get the ball out so that we can actually have an attacking platform. Cameron Wright feeds the scrum. Noche will pick up again because the ball's out. Feeds Janssen van Rensburg. Out the back to Cameron Wright. Wright feeds Bosch to Gianti. Oh, that's going to be a yellow card. Yeah, maybe. No, yeah, he did go up for that with two hands, but it is a knock-on. Now, I want to have a look at this. Yeah, that's fair. He knocks it up. Nope. I mean, it's deliberate, but it's also an attempt to catch the ball. So, no, just a knock-on. Good call from the referee there. Very good call from the referee there. Definitely, I was wrong initially. So, Sharks will have another scrum. I think they gained all of 5 meters. All of 5 meters. But it's an attacking platform. Maybe eke out a penalty, take the lead, or actually, try to actually attack here. They're looking creative. The Sharks. They're just I think they're getting in their own way. Yeah. So Sharks will have the scrum about 5 meters in to the Ospreys side of the field. And they will definitely look to attack here. I wonder if they'll go blind again. Koch is hanging on the blind. I just realized what I said. Werner Koch is staying on the blind side here. I think that'll be intentional to keep the Ospreys true to that side because of the break Cameron Wright that he made in the early minutes of the game. So Cameron Wright feeds the scrum. It's slow to get to the back. It does get there, and Noche lets Cameron Wright have it. But Janssen van Rensburg out the back to Bosch. Bosch takes on the line, almost gets away from his man, but is scragged. Koch will act as scrum half. He plays. I can never remember his name. Anyway, right off to the left, feeds Richardson. Or is that Fenter? Oh, and there's a bit. Oh, there should be a penalty there. Anyway, Wright does get the ball away. That's another trundle by Van Heerden. Right to Bosch. Bosch to Gianti at the back to Rensburg. That's just unfortunate there for the Sharks, but they're just pushing the passes too hard. And the Ospreys, are meeting them on defense. The Sharks are trying to play too flat at the moment, and it's good. But I mean, really, Fassi should have caught that and maybe taken on the line there instead of just trying to flick it off. But I get what he was trying to do. But it is, it's creative. It shows impetus to attack, and I like that from the Sharks. According to the thing, we just lost 100 subscribers. Seems unlikely. Lewis, really good trundle to Morris. Morris runs straight into Cunha, stays on the hard man to move, but he does get through. And Morgan Williams will get it to the back of the ruck and shape the box kick. So the ball's now into the Sharks' half. Werner Koch takes it well, decides to not pass it and runs into contact. Fair enough. Richardson with the long blonde hair. Bosch to Van Rensburg. Janssen van Rensburg. God, his last name so long. Fassi decides to take on the line and stumbles a bit and is lucky not to get turned over. Oosthuizen straight into the big men, as he should be. Right to Bosch. Bosch at the back to Van Heerden. Janssen van Rensburg takes on the line. He's straight through. Decides he has to drop it on the foot, but doesn't get the kick through. It's straight to Nagy, and it will be a runaway try for the Ospreys. And from what was looking like a really good break there from Janssen van Rensburg, turns into a horror kick, bounces straight up for Nagy, and he runs straight through all the way to the try. And, credit to the Ospreys. That was a very good counter-attack. Janssen van Rensburg was straight through there. And I see what he was trying to do. And brilliant skills from Nagy there. Not only made the charge down on the kick, which was a grubber kick, but immediately picked it up, got up onto his feet, and all the way to the try line. Really good play there from Nagy. And maybe the substitution was tactical, not injury forced. Who knows? No, it's definitely injury forced. But what an impact! That's what you want from an impact player. But it looks like Walsh is now taking the kicking duties for the injured Owen Williams. And Walsh, I think, is a Kiwi playing in Wales. In Wales. And Walsh lines up and does convert this try. Takes it out to a 12-5 scoreline. And opportunistic, should we say, from the Ospreys, but you take them when you can. And Sharks, guilty of overplaying, I think. A little bit guilty of overplaying. So, Sharks will kick off. Through Bosch. Goes long into the just outside the Ospreys 22 to Morris. Richardson's over it, but he's pulled off the ball. And Morgan Williams will look to clear. He kicks. Fassi, this is all terrible from the Sharks. Fassi doesn't control it, doesn't go forwards, but knocks it sideways, and then the Ospreys pick it up, and it looks like they've got a 50-22. Oh, no, I don't think it's 50-22. But a great kick over the top by Morgan Williams, and the Sharks, once again, are inside their own 22 and severely under pressure. It actually might be a 50-22, you know. Is it? I think it is. It was a 50-22. No, it wasn't. Thank God for that. So Richardson on the Sharks 5-meter line will have a defensive line out. They go to the front. And they go out to Venter, who takes on the line. Does well to set the ruck, and it looks like Cameron Wright will set the box kick here, getting it to the back of that caterpillar, and doesn't try and kick it out though, and it's taken in well by Morgan. Morgan feeds inside to big man Morris. Morris takes on the line. Richardson tries to get over, but is pushed off the ball immediately. Morgan Williams off to his big hooker Lewis, met really well by Rahl. Sharks do have huge lock forwards. And Ospreys looking to play left here. And the ball's called out as it goes to ground. But both teams looking to play with. I think just neither team really getting the what's the word? Accuracy that they need to really, really make these attacking sets work. Not the kind of accuracy the Sharks had in that first 5 minutes. But 33 minutes of the game done, 12-5 to the Ospreys. I think the Sharks will be frustrated. They've actually, I don't know. They've been under a lot of pressure. They go to the front to big man Van Heerden, and they set the maul. The Sharks maul not moving forward, so it's been called use it once, and now it's been called to use it. So Richardson will have to either use it or feed it to Wright. Feeds it to Wright, who breaks down the right to Cock. Cock breaks a tackle, then is tackled by Lewis. And then there's a turnover, and it's a penalty to the Ospreys. And it's just what's it called? A cacophony of errors from the Sharks here. Very, very frustrating, but it's nice to see them trying, to play with attacking intent, and I think that's the effect of John Plumtree. It's just the accuracy is really lacking. I think it was a neck roll. Yeah, it was taking a player off the ball via the neck. And another great kick from Jack Walsh puts them on the 5-meter line of the Sharks, and they will look for another maul try here, or rather try to get their first maul try because their first one was scrubbed off. Sharks, it's moving forward. Sharks are not stopping it. They've stopped it now. Refs called it once. Lewis will give it to Morgan Williams. Morgan Williams flings it off to big centre Watkin. Morgan Williams again to another big man in Ratty. Buerta picks up and goes. They are 2 meters out of the line, but there's a penalty to the Sharks this time. And it's due to latching and off feet from number 4, which is Davies. And very, very much a let-off there from the Sharks. They were really under pressure. And the Ospreys should have been a lot better than that. And yeah, latching onto the player and straight off his feet with the player. Just sealing off the ball, not giving the Sharks a fair go at it. So the Sharks clear their lines. And they will have the line out too, which is crucial. Because they do not want to be... They want to be in possession of this ball. They've spent too much of this half without it, despite the amount that Ospreys have been kicking. So Richardson will throw, and he throws to the middle to Van Heerden. Wright feeds it inside infield to big man Venter. Wright again feeds Bosch. Bosch will launch a high ball here for the winger to chase in Gianti. Gianti will get high, doesn't manage to take it, and it's Nagy. The guy's having a great game since he's come on. He's managed to take the ball. Sharks are trying to play for a turnover here. And they haven't managed to get it off them. But good attempt to take the ball off them or rather ruck them over. Here's Fassi through the kick through and decides to kick himself. And he's found some open field. It's bounced twice. Nagy's back. The guy's everywhere. He kicks straight to Coe and Bosch. And I think Cohen Bosch will take on the line. He steps, but is went well by Nagy, who's tackled him. And Cohen Bosch, they get the penalty, but I almost disagree with that because Bosch let it go and then pulls it back off his feet. So it should be a penalty to the Ospreys. But I'm not going to complain. I'm pretty happy that we got the penalty there. So Sharks will have the opportunity to go deep into the Ospreys half and hopefully go into half time with a bit more on the scoreboard than the 7 points down that they are currently. And it's a good kick there from Cohen Bosch. He's got them into the 22. Max Nagy is playing really well. He's playing very well. So less than 3 minutes left of the half. And you think, the Sharks need to come away with something. They really need to get some points here. Richardson throws to the middle from Heerden. They've got them all set, but it's not moving at the moment. It's moving forwards now. Richardson's got it under control. Right, takes it out the back. Feeds to Janssen van Rensburg, who hits the line really, really hard. Oh, and it's come out the side, but off the boot, and then there's a penalty to the Ospreys. And Janssen van Rensburg, if he gets called up here, he might be yellow carded for leading with an elbow. And it's Deves who effects that turnover. And it's Walsh who clears the line, and he brings play up to about halfway. No, I'd say he was going for a handoff first. Yeah, I'd say he was going for a handoff first. Yeah, definitely trying to get his arm out to defend first. Yeah, I'd say max penalty. Because he's definitely trying to defend, but he just gets caught really quickly. And that's why he doesn't get his arm extended to defend. It's going to be a yellow, but I disagree. Yeah, I'd agree with the commentators. I think that's a fend that's just mistimed. But I think it's going to be a yellow card to the Sharks here. And it's going to be a card for Janssen van Rensburg, I reckon, here. And that's going to be a real problem for the Sharks. Because he has been their best player of the campaign so far. And it's going to be a yellow card. And, credit to him. No, yeah, JP, you're right. It shouldn't be a yellow because it wasn't his intent. You can see his hand is open. He's trying to get his arm out, and the tackler in Deves comes high. But it's just really quick. So he just can't get his arm fully extended to try the handoff. But, yellow is what it is. And he accepts it. He took it graciously. He didn't complain about it, which is good. And Walsh will play for that field position. Gets it up to... Yeah, JP, I agree with you. I definitely agree with you there. James Goodett. How's Steve doing? Is he... how the Stormers doing? Are they winning? I haven't checked the score. So anyway, the Ospreys go to the front. They set the maul, and the Sharks don't want to give away a penalty here. It is moving forwards from the Ospreys. Ospreys have trundled it up just outside the Sharks' 10. Morgan Williams feeds the big man in Williams. Oh, and they've got. Ooh, they almost had the break down the left-hand side with their big man Fender. Ooh, double yellow and currently losing. Not good. The Ospreys, actually, the Sharks have done well to push the Ospreys back here a little bit. They're almost on halfway. And it's Davies who takes the trundle up but doesn't get anywhere. Immediately tackled. And Morgan Williams will look to pin the Sharks back in their 22 here with a box kick. But I think decides not to box kick. He feeds Walsh. Walsh with a chip over the top. It's a bit too far. And Koch has dropped it stone cold. And now it's a foot race. And Gianti manages to get back, but he's knocked it on, or rather knocked it back. And Williams will dive on it to score. And the Sharks implode, as usual. I can't. The Sharks are just a quality side at fucking themselves over. On-field decision is a try. And they will go to the TMO, but I think the Sharks have just made the stupidest errors ever. Werner Cox stone cold dropping it for no reason, and then Gianti picking it up and diving over the line and losing it. So, are the Sharks going to go down? Going to go down to two, not only a yellow card but also 2 tries down going into half time. That's so poor from Werner Cox. That is awful. Took his eyes off the ball, looking at the man chasing. Gianti knocks it straight back, doesn't get the ball down, and it's a try. Why are the Sharks so fucking awful? Yeah, it's a try. He gets the ball down. He kicks it and gets the ball down. Yep, try. Oh my god. The Sharks are so bad. Yep. And that's going to be the end of the half. And it'll be 19 points to 5. And once again, 3rd game in a row where the Sharks are just they're playing against themselves. They are so poor in these high-intense situations. And their handling has been shocking. And that will be the halftime score, 19 points to 5. The Ospreys, honestly, not having to play that much. The Sharks just delivering it to them on a plate. Obviously, the initial really good try from the Sharks, but since then they've shown absolutely nothing. Yes, they're trying, but the execution is not there. And to be fair, the Ospreys' execution is not there, but they're being given easy walk-in tries. Well, not walk-ins, but they're being given easy tries. And it's so understandable to be such a frustrated Sharks supporter because we lose our Springboks and then our team falls to absolute chaos and just terrible. And you'd think with a whole preseason, how are we this bad? But here we are. And it's, I hope they get better in the second half. Considering previous form, I doubt it. And I don't think we'll be that lucky. Although I hope John Plumtree now lays into them with a brick. But we'll see. We'll see what happens in the second half. That's it for me for now, guys. I will see you in about 10 minutes for the second half of this game. Cheers. All right. Welcome back, everybody. We are obviously back for the second half of the Ospreys versus the Sharks. And let's hope that the Sharks actually managed to show a bit more bite than my grandmother here. Because that first half was just, apart from the, I'd say the first 3 minutes of brilliance, pretty piss poor there from the Sharks. And obviously running out onto the field with a man down, conceding a try on half-time. I'm not exactly enthusiastic about how this is going to go, but you know, we should probably remain ever hopeful. Call off that search party. Your boy is back. Hey, Kenneth. How you doing? But yes, I'm not exactly. What's the word? Not enthusiastic, and a different word. I've already used the word enthusiastic. I'm not hopeful for a Sharks resurgence, because it appears that without Grant Williams, we aren't really anything. And as much as I went to school with Cameron Wright, don't rate him as a player anymore. But anyway, we'll see what happens. Walsh, the Ospreys fullback, will kick us off in this second half. And hopefully John Plumtree shat on the players in the halftime talks, because he was always very good at that about 12 years ago. Cameron Wright takes it down, and launches a huge kick, to be fair, but straight to Max Nagy, who boots it back. It is inside the 22, so Varsity could have marked that and also could have kicked it straight out, but ran outside of the 22. Just interesting from Varsity, but sure. Interesting, kind of sums up what the Sharks do. Now it's back to Varsity. Varsity now this time decides to run. Is wrapped up immediately by the forwards. Up to halfway. Cameron Wright passes and then straight to Rahl, who drops it backwards, because why not? Another, handling error. Bosch launches the high one for both the wingers to chase. It's done. Walsh has done well here, but he can't evade Werner Koch. Butchelesi's over it. Sorry, not yet, but he's told to release. Morris breaks one tackle. Finally brought down by Rahl. Actually, I think they are the other way around. I think that's Van Heerden, and then Rahl is the black-haired one. Morgan Morris, box kicks. And it is Bosch who takes it in, takes it down. Protection from Koch. Right, feeds big man Richardson with just some of the biggest thighs I've ever seen. Biggest quads and hamstrings. And he's got big legs. Anyway, Cameron Wright will box kick under pressure, but gets the ball away. Koch has done well to get the ball back. Wright feeds Fassi. Fassi decides to kick it straight to the back with Walsh. Walsh decides to launch it back, and Fassi is tracking back, and he's going to kick it again himself. He needs to chase that to put all the players on side. Let's kick that straight into the 22 to Nagy. Nagy will launch his own kick, and it's a bit of kick tennis now. Bit of ping pong. This time it's Cameron Wright who's charged down. Thank God it goes to the side and it rolls out, but just Nagy is playing a blinder, and the Sharks are just absolutely nowhere. And he has so much time. I can't. The Sharks are just trash. So poor. Anyway, let's watch the rest of this half and be an embarrassment. Anyway, Richardson throws to the front to Rahl. Fenter breaks off the side and doesn't make any ground but goes sideways. Right out the back to Bosch. Bosch launches a kick and does get it out straight to Fricker, but doesn't take a quick line out, so that will take play just inside the Sharks half. This feels like watching England play Samoa, and we all know how that went. That's how I feel. So stuff might start coming out soon. Horrible throw there, and that was 100% not straight, but referee doesn't call it, so the Ospreys get a very good attacking platform in the middle of the field, which they shouldn't have, for sure. Cock has stabbed it forwards off a loose pass, and he's managed to tackle the man who is Morgan, and he wins the penalty. Really well played there from Cock, and I think the Sharks should go to the corner here and set a maul. I think they need something more than a 3 here. And they will. They'll go for the corner, and actually I back them for that. Really, really good kick. Oh, it's not a great kick. It's actually a shocking kick from Cohen Bosch. But anyway, and got Cohen. Werner Cock did so well here. Makes the tackle on Morgan, stays on his feet, releases, and gets the turnover. Richardson will throw in. Sharks will probably set a maul here. They'll throw to the back to Noche. They don't set a maul. It's Chunu, who hands off his opposite man. Oh, and it's Chunu knocks it on in the carry. Really good carry from him, but then knocks it on as he goes to ground. And that is just, oh my God. Sorry, I can't. I'm getting very, very frustrated with all these handling errors from the Sharks. But yeah, Richardson, you need to cut your hair. It's clearly getting in your way. So Ospreys will have the put into the scrum. 5 handling errors from the Sharks. So yeah, wonderful. Ospreys will have the put into the scrum on their own 5-meter line. And it was a great handoff from Juno originally on Lewis, but goes to ground, loses it when he goes to ground. And as the commentators were saying, he'll be annoyed with himself, but yeah, as he should be. He should have done better than that. Morgan Williams feeds the scrum. Sharks have got a shove here. And they've broken down the left-hand side of the field if you're an Ospreys fan. And they've broken all the way. He kicked over the top. Yanti's in place. Kate takes the ball and is met well by Morgan. They're all the way back in their own half now. And just not good defense from Sharks. Let them go blind. Why? Poor from Cameron Wright. Cameron Wright will box kick for Werner Cock to chase. And out on the full! Cameron Wright showing he should not play rugby for the Sharks. Or Cameron Wright should have stayed out there instead of trying to knock the ball on. But yes, Sharks just being very meh, as pretty much sums up the season. But at least Van Rensburg's coming back on. Janssen Van Rensburg's coming back on. Our only decent player at the moment, which is worrying. Ospreys go to the front of the line out, and they throw it to Davies. Davies feeds it back to Lewis. Lewis knocks it on. And that's a bit of a pressure release for the Sharks, thank God. 7.5 minutes into this half, and the Sharks have done nothing but ruin their own chances. So, there's a really good offload, and Lewis just can't hang on. What's his name? Deves. Deves actually, in the tackle, really decent. He slips it under the arm. Really good offload there. And Janssen van Rensburg is back on the field now, thank God, because we need him. So hopefully that will make a bit of a difference now, and Sharks will actually make a bit of some inroads here. Stormers Glasgow score still the same at 20 points to 9 to Glasgow. Double yellow card for Stormers in the first half, and they'll be starting that second half for at least 8 minutes with 13 men to Russ and I think Weber. So, Sharks have the put into the scrum, and it's a very, very poor put in from Cameron Wright, but they do manage to get the ball to the back. Cameron Wright picks it up, goes to Van Rensburg, who's straight back into the action, trying to run over Walsh. Feeds short feed to Richardson, and the Sharks are trying to truck it up slightly, but it looks like Cameron Wright will set the box kick now, and does box kicks for Van Rensburg. And it's finally gone our way. Morgan's knocked it on, but the offside knocked it into an offside player, and it's a penalty to the Sharks. Good, finally. Something goes our way. To be fair, that's not even fair. The Sharks have just been poor. It's not like we've had an unlucky rub of the green, except maybe for the yellow card. The rest has just been really poor from the Sharks. So they do kick to the sideline. Yeah. And let's see. I think we're inside their 22 now. We are. We're on the 22-meter line. Okay. So Sharks are on the 22-meter line. Throw to the back. Overthrow. Straight to an Ospreys player. Line out lost. Sharks concede possession. And the Sharks are just so poor. But then Morgan Williams tries a weird pick-up pop straight to his own man, who knocks it forward. So it'll be a scrum to the Sharks. And frankly, there's some pretty piss poor rugby being played in this game. Yeah. What can I say? The Sharks need to get some points soon. Werner Koch with a big shot there on what was his number? Number 1. Who's number 1 for them? Buerta, big shot. He might have hit the chin, but he was so low and the guy bent down to hit him, so nothing there. Werner Koch's a unit, but I just hate him when he plays 13. He's terrible at 13. But he's at wing, he's gone up in my estimation. I'll give him that. Last year, I thought he was atrociously bad. Excuse me. So there is a pause in play at the moment. I think they're looking at the tackle, or at least the coaching staff of the Ospreys want to have a look at that tackle. But I don't think the referees are looking at it. Nope, time's back on. They're not looking at it. Good, because I don't think Werner Koch could have got any lower there. So, Sharks have a good attacking platform off this scrum. Hopefully they can get some clean possession and get the ball out quickly and let people like Fassi and Gianti play with it. And another terrible feed from Cam Wright. But he does eventually get it. It's off to Van Rensburg. Van Rensburg feeds it to Fenta on the hard line. Wright tries to go through. Does make a little bit of a break and then gets it to Rahl. And this is good. Noche. On his own, though, he's isolated. Oh, they do manage to get it back. Mchunu. Right. Richardson makes a meter. They've got a grind here, the Sharks. Right. Off to Noche. It's a good shot. Good shot by what's his name? Fender. It's Fender and Venter. Right to Richardson. Richardson hits the line. Penalty advantage to the Sharks. So there will be some points coming here. Sharks take it quickly. Fassi goes right. Hit to Werner Koch. Werner Koch bounces one. They're up to 5 meters. Right to Mchunu. Hits the line. Good little rumble there from the big prop forwards. Right to Richardson. Richardson over Deeves. Right again to Bosch. Bosch goes wide to Buthelezi. Sorry, Noche. Noche feeds Janse van Rensburg. They're up to the 5 again. Big carry there from Richardson. It's gone backwards from an Ospreys player. So Sharks will still have it. And Chunu picks up. And he's lost it forwards. It's been ripped by an Ospreys player. And now they have all the... Oh, no, they decide to kick. Fair enough. Good idea, actually. Vernikock is chasing back. He picks up. Gets back to us. Nope, doesn't. Feeds to Fassi. Fassi will take him on. Is tackled almost immediately. And then loses the ball forwards. And now the Ospreys will have another counter-attack. Because why not? Sharks are just going to give them literally everything in this game. The Sharks are so awful. So Morgan Morris feeds Walsh, who's standing a lot at first receiver in this game. And Fassi lets it bounce. And oh, he's such a child. But it's a decent-ish clearance kick up to halfway. But I just... Oh. I don't really have much to say about the Sharks, just that their handling is just piss poor, and their decision-making is even worse. Why did we tap and go with that? Why didn't we kick to the corner? And then why does Fassi let that bounce? I don't know. This thing is, it's not a coaching thing, because these players have been doing this year on year now. And it doesn't change apparently. But Cam Wright needs to go off. Who's our replacement to come off? Number 21, Macabella. He needs to come on. Cameron Wright's doing nothing. It looks like there's a change in the front row for the Ospreys. I think it is Phillips coming off. Phillips, I think, is coming off. And I think it's... No, it might be... Yeah, it's Phillips, and he's replaced by Henry. And Cameron Wright looks like he will be coming off. Yes. Getting some strapping on a cut on his eye, but I think he'll be coming off regardless, probably for a head HIA. Excuse me. God, I can't believe we're only 14 minutes into the second half. It's felt like an age. I suppose that happens when your team is playing so terribly. I will say it though, Janssen van Rensburg, again, he's played well. Apart from his yellow, but other than that, he's played well. He's the only actual Sharks player who's actually done anything today. So, number 20 is also on for the Ospreys, and it is Morse. He's on for Deeves, and it's also for an HIA. Sharks do disrupt the line out slightly, but the Ospreys do manage to keep possession, and they trundle it up over halfway. Now, Morgan Morris, I think, will go for a box kick here and look to contest for his wingers, Morgan and Fricker. And does. I would say there was some offside forwards there, but sure. Vernikock jumps high and does really well there to twirl back in and maintain possession. Richardson. Actually, to be fair, Vernikock's been playing well. I'll give him that. But most of the other players have been pretty pedestrian. Cameron Wright launches a box kick for Vernikock to chase, and the guy just never gets tired. Taken down by Nagy, who's playing so well this game. Runs it up to halfway. Morgan Morris. Big carry from the new man, Morse. Morgan Morris again to Walsh, who launches a high ball for his winger, Fricker, and his centre, Watkin, to chase. Cam Wright will feed big man Fenter. Sorry, Van Heerden. No, sorry, Rahl. God, I keep getting those two wrong. Rahl is the blonde. Cameron Wright launches it high for Gianti to chase. Big challenge from Gianti. Doesn't rise at all, but no penalty. So at least it slowed the Ospreys ball down a bit. Morgan Morris feeds to who's number 6? Ratty. Also, Ratty. Didn't he play for Edinburgh for a bit? Can't remember. Ospreys still have it. Morgan Morris off the back launches his box kick, and it will be Varsity who takes the ball well. Tackle must release. He's on his knees. Right. Infield. Currie Ostesen. You haven't said his name much in this half at all. Little dink over the top from Bosch to Jans van Rensburg. Walsh coughs it up, and it's it's a good pass off the floor from Raal to Richardson. Richardson feeds to Van Heerden. Van Heerden to Mchunu. Mchunu to Gianti. Gianti fights his way up to the 22. And it looks like no, and it is turned over. And the big hooker Lewis launches it downfield, but Fassi is tracked back. Fassi will not kick. He will go through the line. Is brought down by the new man Morse. Cuneo stays in midfield. Cameron Wright feeds Bosch. Bosch to Buttalesi, I think. Right to Richardson. Richardson out the back to Bosch. Bosch to Mchunu, who loses it forwards. And it's, what's that? Like the 15th handling error from the Sharks. And I hate watching games like this. Anyway, we're almost halfway through the second half. The Sharks are the worst traveling team I think I've seen in God knows how long. They are just atrocious on the road. They're not even that great at home, but they are atrocious on the road. I remember watching them 2 years ago in Glasgow, and that was just embarrassing. So, whole front row change. Van Vuren is on for Richardson. Bleuler is on from Chunu. Hope we'll stop dropping some balls. And then Jacobs is on for Ostesen. Currie Ostesen carried well. But hopefully this will inject some impetus into our, everything. But I doubt it. Yes, the Sharks are going to make the Italian teams look good this year. To be fair, Kenneth, Benetton is a good team. And yeah, so Benetton, I think, will beat us. Zebra, you know what? Zebra have been playing some attractive rugby. They just don't win. So, yes, I reckon we'll make them look stunning at this rate. So it is an Ospreys put into the scrum just outside their own 10-meter line. And there's also a change for Ospreys, and it is Warren on for the South African Porter. Yeah, you were at the game last week, and the Sharks are hopeless. Yes, I know. I turned it off. I stopped watching after, I think, 60 minutes because we were just that useless. And I've very, very rarely done that. I make a point of not doing that and always seeing a game out, but I was just like, no, I'm not watching this. I'm not subjecting myself to this poor rugby. So yeah, I turned it off, and I think I played with The Witcher or something, because that was far more entertaining. So Ospreys will have the scrum. They feed the scrum through Morgan Williams. The scrum has definitely been gone through the 180, but it will be reset. So there's no penalty. It's just a reset scrum. Good. I think a reset from that point of view is probably the best thing the Sharks is hopeful. They weren't going to get a penalty. Scrums won, 6 to the Sharks, 5 to the Ospreys. How many scrums lost? The Sharks could have lost a lot because of Cameron Wright's just atrocious feeding into the scrums. Oh, they're not? Okay, so I don't think either team has lost a scrum. Yeah, I used to go to school with Cameron Wright. I would say certainly back then when he was like 17, pretty arrogant guy, but who knows what he's like now. But certainly not playing very well today. So the scrum does get completed, and the Ospreys shift it, and they've done well here. And Nagy stabs it through, and Fassi now needs to clear. It's a huge kick, to be fair, but he's kicked it straight out. And that will be a... Oh! I don't know where the Sharks go with this, to be honest. I really don't. Like, with the amount of investment, the amount of money, the names, the big names they have, and this. Fussy ran that out of his 22 and then kicked it dead. I don't rate him anymore. He used to be such a talent, and I just don't rate him anymore. Anyway, so the shot, both teams making changes here. Noche is coming off, and I believe Phillips is also coming off. So now it's an all... no, it's not. Only Lewis survives in the front row for the Ospreys. And I believe it is Crenier who's come on. So Ospreys attacking through the centres. Watkin runs in. Now Morgan Williams feeds Morse. Morse is met well by Van Heerden. Sharks are challenging at this ruck, and they do. They go over the top. This is good. Raal feeds the new man in Blula. Wright feeds Bosch. Bosch kicks. And trying to get the 50-22. Doesn't quite beat Nagy. Nagy has to clear. Narrow angle, but he doesn't kick it out. So his feet goes to Fassi, then inside to Bosch. Bosch will try to run this one. Oh, and it's a great step getting past Williams, but then is met quite hard in the tackle. Newman feeds Fassi to Janssen van Rensburg, who then decides, you know what, I'm going to do this myself, and tries to go for an I'm him moment. Does more than most of the other players. Werner Cox struggling against the defenders. They will go back for the penalty. Please just play it to the corner. None of your stupid stuff, Fassi. Oh, and it's the shot on Bosch, and he's bleeding. He's also got now a gash to his eye. And Butter Chamberlain should probably come on. I used to rate Bosch so highly, but he hasn't done anything in ages now. Yeah. They might look at this. TMO might want to look at this because it's head-on-head contact, and it's harsh. Like, it would be very, very hard to give this a red or whatever. And it is. Butter Chamberlain's coming on for the... and Cameron Wright's gone off as well. So, change it, scrum off and fly off. They've just asked one of the assistant coaches what he's liked from the Sharks in this second half, and I really hope he says nothing. Although, I'm hearing the commentator, but not the person they're talking to. So yeah, Wright has gone off. Macabell has come on, and Bosch has gone off, probably for blood, and Butter Chamberlain's come on. And I think that's good. So it looks like they're not going to check out the tackle. Yeah, it sounds like there's not much positive for him to talk about, and I totally understand. This has been just a pretty another meh performance from the Sharks. And they're just waiting to get ready. I think there's still a medic on the field. And number 23 in Costa has come on. And I think it's Janssen van Rensburg who's gone. No, it's not. It's Fenter. Francois Fenter has gone off, and Costa's come on. I don't think you can take off Janssen van Rensburg. He's literally the only player, like, I don't know. He's the only go-forward player we've got. Ugh. And it looks like, what's his name? Deves, who went off earlier for his HIA, it will be coming back onto the field. I think he was replaced by Morse, so it looks like there'll be another, swap out for that. Walter Chamberlain with a good kick decent kick to the corner. I think he's got it up to about the 22. Has got it to the 22, and it'll be a first line-out throw for Van Vuren. And there's Deves returning to the field, and Morse leaving us. Morse has had a good impact. He's made some big hits, good carries. Sharks go to the front through Van Vuren. Sorry, Van Heerden. So many double barrel names. And it is Van Vuren who has it at the back. Macabella wants the ball. He wants to play and does so. Feeds Janssen van Rensburg, who's hit very early on. Macabella feeds big Van Vuren. Sorry. Macabella again recycling really quickly here. And this is good. He's actually added so much speed to this ruck for the Sharks. George Grenier, really good carry there. Macabella. Blula with a decent carry. Macabella again feeds Chamberlain. Chamberlain out the back. Well, not really. Macabella decides not to go blind and goes back to the right into traffic. Much quicker play from the Sharks here with the new scrum half. And that's definitely should be an advantage. Macabella sped this game up hugely. Macabella feeds Van Heerden. Van Heerden trucks it up. Makes a meter or so. Macabella feeds to Pepsi Buttalesi. Butch Chamberlain. Oh, and it's just not, it's just not going to hand. It comes to nothing, as per usual with the Sharks. But at least Macabella has sped this game up. At least he sped this game up, and it's a light years difference in speed compared to Wright playing this game. So finally, Lewis, the hooker for the Ospreys, does depart, and he is replaced by Lloyd, Lewis Lloyd, and his first line-out throw of the game, and definitely not straight, and it's overthrown to Van Vuren. So the Sharks do manage to get the ball back here. We need some big carries here, the Sharks. Macabella to Janssen van Rensburg. Just big carries from him, hitting that line hard, and I think he's not. And Macabella's knocked it on. And just there might have been a penalty missed there for the Sharks, but again, poor what's the word? Accuracy, poor handling. Just this is schoolboy error stuff from the Sharks, and they're consistently doing it, consistently making these errors. The consumer helpline. I feel like the Sharks need the bloody handling helpline at this rate. So scrum to the Ospreys inside their own 22, so they can kick it out. And the scrum will be reset, immediately goes to ground. Less than 15 minutes to play. And the Sharks just have to get the next score, and it has to be 2. It's simple as. But if this is the way the Sharks playing against the Ospreys, their season is not going to get any better. Like, at all. Anyway, Morris has had a good game. Morris, the number 8 for the Ospreys, had a really good game. He's carried very well. He's tackled hard. And yes, the Sharks have, tried to change things up. They've had 7 visits to the 22 and just come away with 1 score. Whereas the Ospreys have come away with 3 from 4 visits. And the Ospreys get a penalty at the scrum. First scrum penalty of the game. And of course it goes against the Sharks. Sharks' accuracy this game has been abhorrent. They couldn't collectively as a team shoot fish in a barrel. They could not do it. And I'd back Varsity to actually miss the barrel. Aaron Andrews is coming on for big man Van Heerden. And Aaron Andrews, despite his... he's not a huge, bulky guy. I really rate him. I think he's a really good player. About 13 minutes left of this game. And the Sharks are running out of time. The Ospreys just need to... And that's not straight. Thank you. You've finally got one right. And you act like it was close. It was miles not straight. And that's a bit of argy-bargy in the centre field. It's 100% not straight. Jesus Christ. Yep. It's not straight, but then there was a penalty for a high tackle from the Sharks, which started all of that. So, yeah. But Sharks are lucky. Ref has not blown for a penalty. So they will have the scrum midfield. And you think that they have to do something with this. They have to get something. Otherwise... Yeah. Otherwise, what's the point of the Sharks playing in this competition if they don't offer anything? They're just useless. And this is my team. I've supported them since I was 11, and oh no, they've seen the penalty for the tackle, and Van Vuren is penalised for that tackle. And yes, and just another stupid thing from the Sharks that just sums them up, basically. So Walsh will clear decent-ish kick into the Sharks' 10, or on their 10. And the Sharks, once again, just belligerent children, are losing this game for themselves. Staggeringly at this rate. So Ospreys go to the front of the line out. Using the back line. Oh, and it's so close to a line break from Watkins there. Really good line, but really good tackle there from Costa. Rahl with a good hit on Deans. Deans? No, it's not. Deeves, I think it is. Deeves, yes, Deeves. The Ospreys maintaining possession. Sharks are trying to rock this over, but don't quite manage it. They're trying again, and they do this time. Van Vuren feeds. Costa flicks it up. Backwards, thank God. And this is Janssen van Rensburg. Macabella. Cabela again. To Boita Chamberlain. Chamberlain out to Blula. Cabela again. This time to Fassi, who attacks the line. Lucky not to get turned there. Cabela to new man Aaron Andrews, who pops it up. It is forwards. Good idea, but it is forwards. And I would argue that that's game over. Considering what the Sharks haven't offered at all, I'd say game's done. Sharks are not winning this game. It's so minor, but it is forwards. And it was to newish man, George Cunha. And it looks like Fussy, who's down at the moment, receiving some treatment from the medics, ice on the back of his neck. And John Plumtree must just be like, oh, why have I come back to this side? He's gone from the Hurricanes, who just are so skillful, to, this. And considering our season last year, I think if I was him, I'd been like, nah, I'm not doing this again. Sorry. So it'll be an Ospreys scrum. Ospreys feeds the scrum, and Morgan Morris has had a really good game. He's controlled this game really well with his box kicks. And I assume they will just look to play this clock. Sharks do have a shove, but the Ospreys do get it out. Walsh decides to bomb it. It's a perfectly weighted kick. Cock thinks about kicking, doesn't. Takes a few steps, then kicks. Kicks long, and it's Walsh who's tracked back, who then kicks himself. And this one is a long kick. And Bush Chamberlain doesn't let it roll over the try line. He decides to take it instead. And he's hunted by Walsh. Just gets away from him. Feeds inside to Dianti. Deves gets him. Cabela. That was forward. Yep, there it is. Another handling error from the Sharks. God, I can't wait for this game to be over. I think I'm just going to stop commentating on all Sharks games because they are just that boring to watch. And it means I can't just turn it off if I'm just sick of it. I don't know, they're making it really hard to support them because they're just that bad. Kenneth, how you doing, buddy? You still watching? I wouldn't be surprised if you're not. Oh, you know what? We're still going to be pointless. 3 games in, 0 log points. 0 log points. It's kind of funny. I can't do anything but laugh because of how much money they've put into this, and we got 0 back. They got less than 0. They've gone backwards. Anyway, the Ospreys attacking. That looked forward as well. They're just outside the Sharks 22. Morgan Morris feeds Ratty. Morgan Morris again. This time goes to his reserve prop. Walsh. Max Nagy hit very hard, but they've got the ball, and I think there's a penalty advantage to the Ospreys. Yep, and with this penalty, when it's eventually given away, they just take the 3. Take the 3, that's 100% game over. And you think Jack Walsh will line this up, take it out to 22 points. 3, yep. Morris pointing to the uprights, and this will probably be 22 points to 5. And that's 3 scores for the Sharks. And considering the rest of the game, that ain't happening. And this is going to be a fun review. I don't think Kenneth is here anymore. I wouldn't be if I didn't have to be, to be honest. But not because of the commentary or anything like that, just because my team is absolutely terrible. Jack Walsh, you deserve it, mate. You had a good game. Knock it over. Knock it over. Jack Walsh misses it. And it's under 6 minutes left to play. The Sharks are going to run this out, or try to anyway. Cabela just gets the kick away before being tackled, but he's kicked it straight to Fricker. Fricker's running it back at them. He's going a bit lateral, but he's made some ground. He's eventually brought down by Costa. Morgan Williams. Walsh. And this is going to be a try for the Ospreys, I reckon. Jack Deves. Oh, it's a good tackle there from Fassi. Finally, he does something on defense. Outside the 22. The front rowers are doing all of the trundling here for Ospreys. It was Lloyd and Henry combining there. Morgan Williams out to Watkin. Oh, it's a great pass from Walsh to big man. Davies. Morgan Williams finds Walsh with a little dummy, and they're almost up to the 5 meter line here. Watkin. Inside the final 5 minutes, they're deep inside the Sharks 22. And they might score here. I wouldn't be surprised. And these are just forward carries here from the big forwards of the Ospreys. And the Sharks are sort of soaking it up. But you kind of get the feeling that they will break at some point. 6 meters out, the Ospreys. When they're looking for a bonus point here. If they go right here, they probably score. No, they've gone left. And I think it's Morse. Morgan Williams. Oh, and again, poor execution. And it's gone into touch. And it's Nagy. Nagy almost becomes the whole reason the Sharks have lost this game, basically. He's been brilliant, but it was just not a good enough pass from Fricker. And Nagy cannot hold on. Yes, that could have been a much better pass from Fricker. Oh, horrible pass from Fricker. Fricker's now looks like he's done something to his leg, and Deves is coming off. So I think Morse is probably coming back on, and I think Fricker's coming off as well, and that means Scully will be coming on. Three minutes left, and the Sharks not only have to go coast to coast, but they have to do it twice, and that's just to draw the game. So the game is over, and the Sharks lose their own line out. And the Ospreys now have it. Still looking for that bonus point try. I think actually the Shark side is worse than England. Worse than England pre-World Cup. We'll say that. And Morgan Williams breaks. Just caught. Very lucky because Cock raced up on the outside man. So there was tons of space there. Sharks are now defending for their lives. And it's Kieran Williams is fuming with his forwards. Yeah, Morris, man of the match. He's played really, really well. He's had a great game. Yes. But I think it was a knock on at the ruck. So the Sharks, just at this point, screw it. Just win the ball and get the ball off the field. And Fricker has now been replaced. So Scully is on, I believe. 1 minute 30 for the Sharks to do anything. Sorry, Davies has come on, and Scully. Scully's come on for Williams, and Davies has come on for Fricker. Now, will the Sharks offer anything off of this? I mean, it's a long way to go, so yes, I don't expect them to do anything. And it's a penalty to the Sharks at the scrum, collapsing, and Cabela goes quickly off to Jans van Rensburg, who runs over the first tackler of Scully. And I think, to be honest, Van Rensburg, maybe Cock, only players that have done anything. And it's another knock-on for the Sharks. And the Ospreys have the ball. Will du Plessis, Sharks need help. You are so on the money there. I don't know what, though. I seriously don't, because they're pumping all this money into this team and they're going backwards. So honestly, they rely on their Springboks, who are obviously never there, and the depth is obviously horrendous. So I kind of give up as a Sharks supporter at this rate. They're just that bad. Anyway, Ospreys will have a scrum. And they're still looking for that bonus point. They'll want that bonus point. But, even just a win, which they've got, absolutely, they've got, is really good. They do get it to the back. And Davey don't know why I wouldn't have done that. But anyway, Davey stabs it through. Chamberlain does clean up, and the Sharks have it in their own 22. I don't understand that. I would have kept the ball. But anyway. Van Vuren trucks it up, and Cabela feeds Grenier. Chamberlain feeds Cock, who knocks it on. And that will be the game. And honestly, not much to say about this game, to be honest. Well done, the Ospreys. They took every single opportunity they had, bar the last few in the last kind of 5-10 minutes. But everything, all my thoughts about this match will be in the review, which we will cut to fairly soon. Thanks for joining me for this game, guys, and sorry for the total what's it? I can't even find the right word for this. The total lack of enthusiasm, should we say? But that's what happens when you support a team that pumps money in and goes backwards. So see you in the review, guys, and